Episode 150 of the Drive-By Podcast with Vince Guzzo is sponsored by Les Délices Lafrenière. 5 great Montreal locations, including the original and hub in St. Leonard, Rosemere, Pointe-Claire, Montreal West, and my favorite home location on Taschereau in Brossard, Simplement Délicieux. Simply delicious. It's Les Délices Lafrenière.
This is the Drive-By with Freeway Frank.
Vince, let's try that again. I'm going to be honest. We were recording the podcast a few minutes ago, and I forgot to put on the most important camera, which was, or is?
The one that was looking at me.
Yeah, the one that's looking at you. Mr. Sunshine wasn't on. So imagine, can you imagine we had recorded
The whole thing.
and then at the end I would tell you, you're not on, Vince. We have to start over again.
People would have said he was probably remotely hiding somewhere.
Yeah, exactly.
Hiding like a bear somewhere.
Nice to see you. You're looking great as usual.
Thank you.
You
Changed a bit the colors. I mean, I now wear a lot of black.
That's good. I like wearing black too.
Yeah.
Can you tell me a bit about what's happening there? Your bracelets.
Well, no, the bracelet. Well, I thought you knew the story. So I used to have bracelets almost up to my elbow, and then once a year I cut them all off because these never come off. Right.
You shower with those? Take baths? You go in hot tubs, pools?
Yeah,
wow.
I do the whole thing. Pool, the whole thing. So I actually, because of the show, I have one of those ice baths.
Oh yeah, how's that working? Tell me about that later. Should I get one?
It's very, very cold.
Yeah, it's very
extremely cold.
It's not for us Italians.
But then I also have the warm one. I bought 2 of them. One I got for free from the show, and then the other one I bought. And so one's warm and one's cold. I can spend 10 minutes in the warm one. I can't spend a minute in the cold one. It's really cold. So I always wear these best. So the ones on the right side are basically to remind me of every mistake I think I made. Sort of that devil says, "What the hell were you thinking of?" Mm-hmm. This is what this represents. Okay. And then the ones on the left side, these are all the smart moves I made. As you can see, there's always a lot more mistakes than smart moves. But,
and that was your own idea. It's not, or was it inspired by somebody else or a book you read that told you?
No, it was just something that it was sort of a token to remind me. I made that mistake. I don't have to repeat the mistake.
That's good.
So that was my way of. And the left side is, it's sort of that trophy thing of, these are the good ones.
Yeah. It's not a surprise that you're here on episode 150, Vince, because it's a milestone episode. The 100, the 50, the 150, the 200. You might have to come back for a big one. Because so far in the lifespan of the Drive-By Podcast, you have the biggest episode, which was episode 2, most downloaded episode, second biggest on YouTube.
Wow.
Yeah.
Don't I get a cut from YouTube? Don't they pay people for stuff like that anymore?
Yeah, YouTube pays like a whole, I think, $60.
A whole $60.
You want a percentage of my $60 that I'm making?
So I'm not surprised. I'm going to tell you, I'm not surprised that
me neither.
That's the case.
Yeah.
I mean, I was talking to somebody this weekend, and I actually said that. I said to them, "Are you sure?" I'm writing a book. Just so you know, I'm writing a book, and the title of the book is "Be Careful What You Wish For." So I said this to this person. It says, "Are you sure this is what you want? Be careful what you wish for." And in the discussion, the person asked me, "But why? What's the problem? Do you realize who I am?" The person says, "But what do you mean who you are? Like everybody knows who you are." No. Do you realize how polarizing I can be? Right? It's. I like to say there's people that love me and are ultra loyal to me. Let's give you the example of my 5 kids, but I mean loyal to
well, of course,
right? My staff. I got people that have been. I got a guy. He's 55 years old. He's worked for me for 41 years. So he started working for me as an usher when he was 14, and he's worked for me since. He'd take a bullet for me, but in the real sense of the word, right? Then there's those people who will cross the street not to walk on the same side of the street as me. And then there's those other people that are very nice, and then when you stumble, you realize how nice they were not.
Right.
Right.
You see their true colors.
So I'm not surprised. Yep. I'm not surprised that I triggered so many downloads just because.
Well, and you know what? There's nothing wrong with being authentic and your true self, unfiltered, like you said.
Yep.
and being real, because at least people know exactly where you stand. I would much rather have somebody sitting across from me having a real conversation. And by the way, Vince, you're the same guy off camera, even though I wasn't recording seconds ago, the same guy in person. I'm having the same conversation with you. If anything, there's a lot more, obviously, that
there's a bit of decorum. There's a little more decorum, less swearing, less,
exactly. Even though you could swear here if you wanted to, but no, you're a classy guy. But you're the same guy. You truly are. But I remember after that episode 2, all hell broke loose, because so much stuff was said, right? And again, nothing really shocking or surprising, but because you're unfiltered and because you love speaking the truth and your truth and the truth, not everybody likes that. And we're in times right now in 2023 when you say something, it goes, everybody's watching, you get direct messages on Instagram, I'm sure. And it's just a different world. There's no doubt about that.
Well, a very good friend of mine, Mark Afilalo, who was head of the emergency at the Jewish General, he's a much older man than me. He's actually stepping down on the 14th of December as head of the Jewish General Emergency. He would always tell people, if you ever want to take a complex situation and vulgarize it so that anybody can understand it, go see Vince. Vince will simplify it, and it'll become 2 + 2 makes 4. There's no algebra here. It's 2 + 2 makes 4. Okay, and so what was interesting about that COVID discussion is that it was mathematics. I mean,
yes.
we're the best. We are, because we have the highest debts. Remember, we're the greatest. Really? Because we're like abandoning people. And, so it was just the math's not adding up, guys, type of thing. What's funny about what you said is that when my first interview, or my first, interview, when I had to be, when CBC was thinking of putting me on Dragon's Den, we were in one of my restaurants, and the producers of Dragon's Den looked at me and said, "Can you do this in front of a camera?" And I said, "Do what?" And she's moving her hand. And I go, "You mean the Italian hand movements?" She goes, No. Can you be like this on TV in front of a camera? I don't understand what. And it took me a good 2 minutes to understand what she was trying to say. And I basically said to her, "But you think I'm acting?" "Well, because, you're so colorful, you're so this." "Oh, no, you don't get it. This is me. You can get me tamer. You can't get any wilder than this. This is what you're going to get."
Yep.
That's right. And so that's where, what you said is funny. In fact, I tell people often, I say to them, I don't like to remember stuff. So I just say the truth.
Yeah.
Because lies are too complicated to remember. And then they're intertwined with reality, and then I get all confused, right?
Absolutely.
So I just might as well tell you the truth.
Yeah.
I went into a meeting once, and I told the guy, as soon as I walked in, I said, "By the way, the last time I left, if I remember well, I told you to go fly a kite. Let's see if we can end this meeting a little differently, okay?" Yeah. And the guy just like, I can't believe he brought up a negative thing. Well, let's bring up the negative right away.
Yeah.
Right? And then we'll see if we can go positive with it.
Yeah.
So that's
there's no BS with you, really. I mean, you're
right, and
come on and spit it out. There's nothing wrong.
There's situations. The media seems to like me, and what I mean by that is they seem to call on me often to make comments and whatever, because they get 2 things. First of all, I answer my phone call.
Yeah.
Second of all, I don't tell them. Yeah, I don't tell people off the record. There's no off the record. I mean, either I talk to you or I don't.
That's true.
I've never. In my mind, there's my life's pretty transparent. I'm a pretty open guy. I mean, I don't, and so I can answer almost any question, right? So it was a little difficult for me during the summer when I hibernated for 6 weeks, and a lot of the media was saying, "Should we call him? We shouldn't call him," and so forth and so forth. So, but I'm back on the market, as I like to say, back on the media market,
and this is something that. We have to address the elephant in the room. I don't know how big the elephant is. I don't really see the elephant. Maybe it's like Mr. Snuffleupagus. He's invisible. Only some people see him. But it's something that, we've been talking throughout the year. This hasn't been an easy year for you, especially with the, couple of the big stories that hit the media. And now today, a press release came out. Do you want to address that press release? that came out? Just basically a little background as to what it is, the press release, and your thoughts
It's
on
just-
where you are now.
Yeah, it's just my statement. I mean, on the 24th, I think, of November, the Crown Prosecutor of the City of Laval signed a document that was remitted on the 28th, ordering a stay on the accusations. A stay means stop to all accusations that were done towards me on the 26th of June. It's probably one of the rare times that I was upset at the media, because the media that broke the story by saying that I did something to a woman, not specifying that woman happened to be somebody I'd been married with for 15 years. And so, my statement back then was clear. It's a family law issue, and all the other media's understood. Okay, it's a litigious, divorce, and so let it be. So it is what it is. Now, by dropping, by declaring a stay on the accusations, it basically means that there was, the way I interpret it is basically there's not enough, or what we've given to the Crown and everybody, pretty much says, there's no grounds here to move forward with these accusations. So what I did do, and I'm going to try and stick to that in the sense that I don't want to in any way reopen the story, because I saw how hurt my children were. So I left for 6 weeks with them to the Hamptons, and we got to know each other. We got to know the new us, right? In the sense, and what I mean by that is when something like happened to this family happens, it changes everybody. Everybody becomes a little different. So that's my primary source. I don't want to reopen any wounds or anything.
Those are private matters anyway.
That's right.
But in terms of the public perception and what's out there publicly is more what I'm
right. So I'm happy. Look, I can tell you this. I can tell you that the big majority of people that did business with me and so forth reached out to me, and they felt that it was unfair what was being said and so forth and so forth. So I felt a lot of support from my children, from my friends, from my business partners, my business circle, let's call it that way. And CBC, showed a great sign of loyalty and of trust by airing the season now instead of waiting till the stay would have been declared, right? So they started in September, and so forth and so forth. And as I said, I'm a very polarizing person. So on the one hand, when I think I can say it on the podcast, when shit hits the fan, sometimes you say why. In my case, I didn't really say why. I said, well, I guess that's what you get when you're a polarizing person, right? Everybody's opinionated, and everybody has a chance to come back and whatever. I'm just happy it's behind us. It's done. And so, the kids are, I think, in a better space. The kids don't have to respond to foolish teenagers who say stupidities to them about their dad or whatever.
Yeah, because that's the hardest part, right? Because you're a public person.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, this is not a matter, yes, you're going to keep it private. As we say in Italian, sono cazzi tuoi, it's your business, right? Yep. But it gets out into the papers.
Yep.
And we know how the media works here in Quebec, especially with prominent figures, people with high profile, sports athletes. And I've sat down here in that very chair with someone specifically that I was talking about this and how it affected their family. And it's not easy. It's not easy reading headlines. It's not easy hearing what they think they know, and what they're putting out there. Well,
look, I tell you, it wouldn't be the first time that something negative was said about me in the media, right? I mean, I'll never forget in 2000, I think it was 2000, Natalie Pachowski wrote an article and openly said that she asked me if I was a gangster and that I wouldn't answer the question. But I said, but I gave you a reason why I wasn't answering the question. I said, because if I am, then I'm going to have to say no, because I've never heard a gangster say I am.
Right.
And if I'm not, and I say I'm not, but no gangster's ever said he is, so therefore you're going to always assume that I'm not. So I turned around and I said, but I'd like to thank you for the compliment. And she says, well, you think being a gangster is a compliment? Actually, I don't. But what I really think is a compliment is that you believe that what I've accomplished with my mom and my dad is so extraordinary that a normal person couldn't do that, right? We had to have organized crime behind us to do it, I said. So think about that.
Yeah.
Think about how exceptional what I did was. I really didn't think it was. You know, when you, a lot of people, you know, and the reason for why the book is called, or is going to be called, Be Careful What You Wish For, is because everybody wants to be successful. Everybody wants to do this, and everybody wants to be rich, and everybody. The problem is people don't realize the sacrifices it takes. They don't realize what you're selling. Mm-hmm. You know, so there's that old expression, you got to sell your soul to the devil to make it in the music business, right? So all these musicians are all dying young because there was a 50-year deal, and then they got to be taken away. So the problem is that when you're in the grind, when you're doing it, it becomes your everyday, right? So, you know, as I meet new people, right, they realize how much I work, and they say, but why? Yeah. Why do you work that much? What do you mean? Well, like, you realize you work 12 hours a day, every day, 7 days a week, even on vacation? Yeah. But and it doesn't, like, don't you ever take a break? What do you mean? It sort of like became a second nature, right? And, you know, then we go into big philosophies about how the only thing that's never betrayed me in life was work. Because the more I gave to work, the more it gave me back, right? Mm-hmm. Versus humans, right? And this is no pun to what's going on. You know what happened? No. I'm saying in life,
general,
right? Yeah, in general, right? You got, you know, you have, you know, I say this to my daughter all the time because I read a book and it says that the first female child is the female version of her dad, and God, that's true, right? You'll notice I told you what all the other boys, the boys wanted to run, right? I didn't tell you what Rosella wants to do. Rosella just says, I'll replace you. I'll tell the boys what to do when they're not doing it right. She's the youngest, right? But she's got that kind of mannerism. She's got that kind of attitude.
She has your spirit.
Yeah, she has, and she's up front, right? I mean, in the sense that she takes no prisoners. You know, and it's cruel to say, but, you know, when you take prisoners, you got to feed them, you got to dress them, you got to keep them warm. It costs money, so don't take any prisoners. Yeah. Just, you know, win the war, and that's it. So, in fact, yesterday I was arguing with her about something, and I said, listen to me. I said, Rosella, you might win a battle, but you will not win the war. So enjoy the fact that you think you're winning this battle. I'll let you win the battle. I don't care. But you're not going to win this war. I'm telling you. You are going to go to school, and you're going to do this, and because she wanted to miss school. And now, she still missed school today because she ended up being sick for real. Like, you know, and so it ended up that way. But so, you know, like I said, it was a difficult time. It's behind us. Manjeet, Michelle showing up at the white party, being, you know, honorary co-chairs, you know, was, I think, a big message. That's a testament to our friendship, to our bondness and everything. And so, you know, next year's a new year, and, you know.
Can I say that, you know, for me, as I'm your friend, you invited me to the party, hadn't seen you in a while. We texted. You called me a couple of times. We talked about what was going on privately. Not important to mention that part. And, you know, it's only human nature. When I went to your white party, which is a big event for people who are outside the Montreal area, that happens every year, big charitable event at your home. And I was looking for, and this is just a human in me, if your circle of friends was going to be tighter. And I kind of noticed that you're the most loyal people in your life showed up.
Yep.
The people that were there, am I right?
Yep.
The people that were there, I was looking around. I remember even telling my wife, these are the people that are still with Vince.
Yep.
So, but I think also has a lot to do with the way you live your life, you run your business, your character, everything about you is like, okay, just went through this year of this adjustment year.
Yep.
I was hit with many bullets, the drive-by, bullets everywhere, and I dealt with it best I could. Now it's in the past. But now I need to tighten up this circle of friends, and the people that are going to be there, I feel, are the people that care about me and the people that mean the most to me. Am I right?
Yeah.
Okay, so I didn't.
No. That's the way it is. In
Yeah.
fact, so I would tell you this year we had 350 people. Out of those, I would say about 150 on a rotation basis show up. Like, so Sal Parasuco's there every year. But, there's other people that come one year, they don't come another year. But somebody else replaces it. And so I normally have in the 350, 400 people that come, about 150 that are what I would call close friends, people that I know. And for me, a close friend is somebody that I actually know his first and last name and know what he does for a living, and I actually know his birthday, right? That's it's not an acquaintance, in other words.
Right.
But this time, it seemed that the message got out to the people who are friends and said, hey, after COVID, the guy did 2 years of COVID. Then he's back on his feet, and then this hits him. Everybody showed up, right?
Yeah.
So all of a sudden, it was easy for me to not even have to go solicit some of the bigger companies that would come, but now they were maybe a little afraid, we don't know this, that. So it was just, and that's why I thought it was also a great time.
It was a great time
to actually move the event from a couple organizing it to the kids organizing it, right? So what you saw this year was 5 children organizing it, right? So I wrote the check, but they're the ones who organized it and so forth and so on.
And it was a great time.
Yeah, I thought it was. Look, you know what? It's probably one of the first years that I actually felt I could walk around and just be me and not have to, because it wasn't me running the show, right? So
you looked relaxed. You looked like you were in conversation with many people.
Yep.
And the thing I noticed from that night, and I was hearing from a lot of your friends that I met from other parts of the country and all that, is, it would come up eventually within the first couple of minutes, and everybody would say the same thing. And I'm not making this shit up. Mm-hmm. Everybody, you have a lot of good friends, and they were like, "I'm here for Vince. I'm here for Vince. I'm here." We didn't even have to talk about. Like, there were no other conversations going on about what had happened during the year and all. I was like, "I'm here for Vince." I was like, "Me too." Vince invited me, and I didn't even think twice. And I said, "I'm going to be there." So I
thank you for coming. By the way,
it was fantastic. Yeah. And I was surprised by, I have to be honest, Glass Tiger, because you always have a surprise group playing, but I wasn't expecting Glass Tiger. That was incredible. Yeah. Pretty amazing. But so you mentioned your family quite a few times. You're a family man.
Mm-hmm.
That's what you're all about. You are obviously an entrepreneur. Your business that you run, the many businesses that you run, but at the end of the day, family is everything to you.
Yep.
And so your kids have to look at you as their role model, right? And every day you get up in the morning, like you said, you're dedicated to your job, you're working, putting in 12-hour days, but you're not only doing it for a legacy yourself, you're doing it for your children. And so that at least your children have a choice at some point to decide, are we going to follow in daddy's footsteps or are we going to do our own thing? And many of your children look like they might be doing the same type of stuff that you've been doing, right?
Yeah, because you see, what a lot of people have heard me preach, and I'm going to use the word preach because it almost sounded like a preacher, when I tell people it's great to say, given the prime minister we have, I think it's pretty clear that we know what people want to hear. Can we deliver on it though?
Absolutely,
right? And that's where the problem is. Meaning what? Everybody knows you should prioritize your education. You should prioritize, tell your friends this weekend I'm not available. I got to study. I got to do this and I got to do that. And but we'll see each other next weekend or whatever, right? The problem is when you say that to children don't have the same value for words as grown-ups do. So they got to see you do that. They got to see you. So for example, Sal Parasuco and I are very good friends. We'll go to the Hamptons for the day. We'll go for the weekend, just him and I and, some of the boys and whatever. But I hadn't seen him in a while during the summer. And my daughter said to me, she says, "Are you still friends with Sal?" I said, "Of course I'm still friends with Sal. Why do you ask if I'm still?" "Well, because you haven't seen him." But I have friends that I haven't seen in 5 years. But we still, I go back to Italy, for example, and I meet, one of my friends when I used to go to Italy as a kid. Now he lives in Milan, so I'm in Italy here.
And it's a true friend. You see each other,
that's
you
right.
pick up from where you left off.
That's right. But in the meantime, you have responsibilities, right? And sometimes I always like to tell the kids, if you want to be a real friend, you got to tell your friend, I'm not available, so that you become an exceptional person, and your friend knows an exceptional person now. So you did him a favor by becoming exceptional, because he's friends with exceptional, right? So, and by doing that, what's interesting is the kids have understood, loyalty. They've understood loyalty not only to a name, but loyalty to a way of life, a philosophy, right? So, for example, every Sunday when my parents are in town, we go to lunch at my parents' house. Undeniably, it ends up that I get into an argument either with my father or my mother. That's the way it ends.
But that's okay,
right?
Yeah.
And every Sunday, I go back, right? And so every once in a while, the kids would say, but why? Why do you go back? Like, it's great. We love going to Nono and Nona's house because they treat us like gold, so we don't care. But you're always getting into arguments with them. But it's not the son getting into an argument with them. It's the business partner. It's the 3 business partners that sit at the table.
Discussing business.
And discussing business.
When maybe you shouldn't be discussing business on a Sunday family day, no?
You're partially right. But,
it comes up.
I'm wearing a special T-shirt today. I'm wearing a Godfather T-shirt, from Kit. And so what's interesting about this is that it's, what did the Godfather say? It's not personal. It's only business.
Yeah.
The problem is my business has my personal name on it. So it's strictly personal.
Your
right?
name is literally in lights.
Right.
So.
That's right. And then the other thing is that I've always said to, there's multiple philosophies of life of how to educate kids, right? So, I know people who, when mommy and daddy have to argue, the kids are sent to their room while they're sleeping, or, so that they can't hear the fight. I'm not a big believer of that. I saw every argument my parents ever had and so forth. And that made me able to stand my ground. And as I like to tell a very good friend of mine, Michael Penner, who used to be chairman of Hydro-Quebec at a certain point, he said to me, you and I are the same. And I said, well, we're yin and yang. I said, you have no problem with conflict, but you have a problem with confrontation. I cannot stand conflict, but I got zero problems with confrontation. And a lot of people sometimes say, but that doesn't make sense. Sure it does. Because I don't want to have a conflict with you, I'd rather have the confrontation so we get it out of the way. It's done. We've settled what differences, what
because
confusion.
Conflict is ongoing. That's
right. Right? Everybody stays in their corner. There's bitterness. It builds. And then you lose 10 years sometimes.
For no reason.
To then say, but I never said that. This is what I said. Oh, my God. Oh, my God, I apologize. The 10 years, you're not getting them back, right? So what's interesting is that by having seen my parents argue, discuss, and by the kids seeing my dad and I argue, my mom argue about the business, they're being taught this is what it is to be in business with your family. Like, it's not, Sunday lunches is not Sunday lunches.
It's not your typical.
It's the excuse for a board meeting. It's a lunch board meeting. That's it, right?
Yeah.
And then when my parents are not in town, we go downtown. We'll go to Yama. We'll go to Payacho. We'll go wherever we want to go, right? And just hang around, do a bit of shopping, and have a lunch, and so forth and so forth. And that's when the girlfriends come, and so forth and so forth. So I was not allowed to have a boyfriend or anything. But
she's too young.
She's too young, way too young. Anything under 33, she's not allowed to have a boyfriend, that type of thing. But and so, and that also exposes, because I did thank, the kids for the white party, but there were 2 girlfriends, Christina, Angelo's fiance, and Chloe, which is Vittorio's girlfriend. Both of them were also heavily involved in the organization and so forth, right? So, and they even came, it's an interesting thing because during the crazy period of these last 14 months, the girlfriends were there. And I know that, when a nuclear bomb is set out, against the family, it affects everybody in the family. And I know the boys talked with their girlfriends and so forth and so forth. But how they all, I would believe that most young couples would almost say, I don't need this. Like, just move on, right? And they'd almost break up and say, look, they've got too many issues in that family right now that's going on. It's just, I love him, but I don't want to be there, right? Type of thing. But both girls were very, very caring, very, very close to their, to my kids and so forth. And they helped my daughter, I did a lot of girly things with my daughter during the summer. She got highlights for the first time. And I said, but why? Can you get him in Montreal? Go with your mom. Like, why do I have to do this with you? Type of thing, right? But it's funny because I got amazing pictures, which she's very embarrassed because, they put these foil things in her hair and everything. It was great. So, I saw a side of being a parent that I had not experienced in the past. And
girl dad.
Yeah. It was a very, very... and and I don't want to throw the compliment to me because I'm not a single parent necessarily, but it's possible to raise exceptional children. Mm-hmm. I mean, those kids impress me every day. And my daughter's brilliance scholastically also impresses me. She says, "Yeah, I know it's a 70, and I know you want a 90, but with the 20% I don't have, I did this. Mm-hmm. I learned something else."
You told me on the last podcast that you did that you weren't necessarily getting good grades back in the day, right?
Right.
And you, maybe I shouldn't have mentioned
this. No.
And look at you today. So I mean, there's book smart, and then there's life smarts, and if you have a combination of both, you could end up in this chair like Vince.
So, that as I said, the book, is going to be called "Be Careful What You Wish For." Everybody. So I posted, I think yesterday, I posted something about if people only knew the price of success, they'd maybe be more willing to accept their failures. In other words, you know what? It's not that bad not being successful. Because if I got to give up this to be successful and I got to give up this to be successful, it's, you've got to become, it's strange because it's almost like saying you have to be passionate, you have to love what you're doing, but in reality you don't. What you have to become is indifferent to the pain, right? And a lot of people say, well, what do you mean? It's like working out, right? So go to the gym the first day and pump up iron. The next day you can't move. Okay. So
you just have to get over it.
That's right. You just have to get over it. And so as your level of abuse from the anxiety, right? I mean, a lot of people need to understand that anxiety is probably the number one blocker, right? Out of fear of failing.
That's exactly
right? It. I'm going to procrastinate and say, I'm not ready yet.
And then you're never ready.
And you're never ready.
Yeah, no, you're 100% right. I've done
perfectionist,
that.
Somebody tells me all the time, says to me, you seem to be a control freak and a perfectionist. No, I'm far from being a perfectionist. I'm a mishmasher. I just put things together and I see if it works. And if it doesn't, I take pieces away, put other pieces in, and I try and make something that is coherent and works and makes sense. Mm-hmm. And so the problem, I think, is that when you go to school, we're all looking at a grade. But what did we do to get that grade? If all I did was I closed myself up in my room and either played video games or studied
like a...
So, I don't know. Like, for example, I was teasing one of my boys a few years ago. He was young, and he goes, this girl likes me. Look, she's texted me and everything. What are you texting her back? Let me see. And he showed me what he was texting. What the hell are you doing? Tell her like this. Tell her, what's your favorite candy? To start like, oh, that's weird. Just shut up. Just go there.
Follow me.
There. And then I brought him to a point where there was a joke in there.
Yeah.
Right? And because what's your favorite candy? Eventually, the girl's going to say, what's your favorite candy? So she's going to say, Tootsie Rolls. I can't say that. Why not? Tootsie, it's like, I'm making a reference to breasts. Yeah, but the candy is called Tootsie Rolls. Just say Tootsie Rolls. Don't worry about it. He didn't want to do it until he did it. And the girl started laughing. Oh, my God. The problem was that when she actually met him, it was, a little fling during the summer in the Hamptons. She goes, why is it like it wasn't you texting me?
Yeah.
And in my mind, I'm saying, and so.
Well, because and Tootsie
Because
Rolls
it
are
was
not
me.
even. Yeah, it was you, but even Tootsie Rolls, are they still around?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah,
they
yeah.
are. Especially in the Hamptons. Remember, we have a Dylan candy store,
And they have
so they
everything
have
now.
all of the vintage
Yeah, yeah.
stuff and everything, right? So, so basically, what I was trying to say is that when I was in high school at Selwyn House, I knew all of the girls. I didn't live in Westmount. I lived in RDP. So, but I knew all of the girls' schools. All of the girls in the girls' schools knew me. Why? Because I didn't text.
We didn't have that anyway.
No, we had to talk. To talk. My dad used to own a nightclub. So I was at 15, 16, I would talk to 18, 19-year-old girls. I started shaving because I wanted to look older. Because
right
I wanted
away.
to, be a little bit of a womanizer. But the whole idea was ultimately to socialize, which is something that the kids have lost. Why? Because it's the grade. It's the grade that's going to let you in.
Right.
It's this, it's that. And in fact, there's a study that came out recently that says that the more difficulties you have in school, the better off you'll face life. Because you build resilience. You build a tolerance to the abuse, right?
Makes you stronger.
Yeah, somebody once said to me, she said, how do you do it? And I actually posted something about Amber Heard and Johnny Depp.
I saw that, yeah.
You saw, right? And it said, a man smiles to hide his pain. A woman cries to hide the mistake she made, right? And in reality, what happens is, I say it all the time. If you're going through a dark period of your life and you're in, let's call it in hell, what are you doing? Just standing there. Walk. Continue walking. Put a smile on and go on.
Keep on walking. Don't
That's
look
right.
back.
I have a T-shirt that says, heaven doesn't want me. Hell doesn't want me to take over. So nobody wants me, right? And so it's important to realize that to be successful, you've got to be able to, tolerate abuse. And abuse will come from, remember, if you're successful, you're part of the 1%ers. That means there's 99% of people that are either like you, are jealous of you, detest you, want to cut you down. So you got a lot of enemies, right? And so somewhere along the way, you've got to accept that being successful means being alone, being lonely.
It gets lonely sometimes.
And it gets lonely because we do it to ourselves, right? And I'll give you an example. I have a really bad day at the office. I go home. I see my partner's laughing and she's all happy and she's all, hey, I'm going to go give her the bad news that I just lost $10 million in the deal. Let her have her day, right?
But you have to.
Right. So you just take it in and
carry that. Yeah.
The next day, you make $10 million. So now you're happy. You go home. One of the kids failed one of their exams and she's all anxious because it makes her look like a bad mother. Whatever. Like whatever your partner's going through. So what do? You go there and say, hey, look, I made $10 million. I'm the best. Even that I have to take to myself.
Right.
And so you eventually say to yourself, okay, so I'm a provider. I'm an educator in some sense of real life. I'm the protector. But there's only so many protectors in a family, right? There's only so many protectors in there's only one president. There can be multiple founders, but there's one president.
Yeah.
And that's where, the loneliness comes. I think that my solace was that during the summer, I knew that I would not be alone forever because I said, you know what? 2 of them are looking like they're going to get married one day soon. Start getting grandkids. If I'm lucky, they're each going to have 5. The first one's going to be called Vincenzo in all cases.
Just putting it out there.
So when they say Vincenzo, everybody's going to turn around. Whoa, are you talking to me? Right? So you realize that you refocus things, right? But like I said, be careful what you wish for because you'll get it. And then you say, but that's not really what I meant. What did you mean? You said you wanted to be successful. You said you wanted to be rich. You didn't tell me you wanted to be happy. Yeah. Because, by the way, what the hell does happy mean? Right? And even successful, what does that mean? Right? And what does having a lot of money mean? I tell university students all the time, I says, right now, if I gave you guys $1 million, you'd probably retire. You say, $1 million? I don't have to work a day in my life. The problem is if you work to make $1 million, when you make the $1 million, your standard of living's gone up along the way. So now you need 10 million because the $1 million is not enough. Then when you get the 10 million, you say, but it's still not enough because now my standards are low. So I need 100 million. So then you realize one of the biggest fallacies of success, right? Why? I don't know why we do this. Why we educate kids and society to be goal-minded, but with a finish line, right? So the finish line is, come December, you're going to have your exam and you're going to get your grade. And then we're going to know. What are we going to know? Exactly. That I'm exceptionally smart in math and I don't know how to speak English properly, or I don't know how to write English because I'm dyslexic. Like, what are we going to know? What are we exactly going to know? We already know, I think, differently than you. So what else do you want to know, right? And in fact, I've always told my kids, and the one who caught on the youngest is Rosella. I always tell the kids, don't look at the finish line, because you're gonna get there, right? I mean, this happened to Maria when she got her master's. My present wife still. I mean, and so she got her master's. You know, she went up on stage, got tapped on the shoulder with the I don't know what, the diploma, whatever they tap you with, and then she was, we were home at night, and I go, what's wrong? I don't know. It's like, as if
that's it.
I thought it was gonna feel differently. Yeah, but what did you think?
Yeah,
it's only really 24 hours. That's changed between you didn't have it, now you have it, a master's, right? You don't have a PhD, now you have a PhD, right? So what's the truth that matters? You gotta enjoy the ride. You gotta enjoy so you gotta remember, bad days don't last, thank God, and good days don't last. So
that's true.
Enjoy the good ones so that they can give you the memories that will get you through the dark ones. And if you learn a lesson from the dark ones, you've got something that you've earned from it, right? I was telling a bunch of university kids, would you be okay with failure? And many of them said, no. Well, why do we want to fail? Why do we need to fail? You pay to go to university? Yeah. So you're willing to pay to get a professor to talk to you as if he's telling you what you're going to have to do or not do, but you're not willing to pay to make a mistake. Think about it. Once you paid to make that mistake and you felt the pain of that mistake, you'll never make that mistake again. Versus you paid to go to McGill or to go to any university. And what are you going to do? You're going to continue paying every time to get another diploma, another this, another that. Like I have a law degree. My law degree is still in the drawer. It's nicely still in the
you never even
in
put
the
it
leather
up on the
bound thing. It never went up. I have an economics degree. It's still there, right? And the only reason why is because every once in a while we would have an argument with the kids, and I would tell the kids, this legally this is what it is. And well, how do you know? It's very simple. It's my drawer. It's my law degree. Are we clear? That's how I know. It's done. It's not because I'm your father. It's because I have the law degree and you don't. So do me the favor. And so, all that to say that, I'm unique. That can be positive. It could be negative, right? So in uniqueness, we have unique horrible people and we have unique good people, right? We just need to choose. But either way, you're gonna have to, if you want to be successful and if you want society to change, I gave a speech at the Outwater Club the other day, and one of the questions was about philanthropy, why we give money. I said, you want the politically correct answer? Because we need to give back to society. Very important. There's a lot of needy people in the world. Or do you want the truth? Well, can I have both? Okay, well, I gave you the BS answer. That's the BS answer. You could have gotten that from anybody else. The answer is this, very simple. Unless I'm affected by the cause, then the only other thing I'm doing is like every other successful, wealthy person, I'm trying to buy a seat closer to God when I die. I'm sort of, it's a redemption gesture. It's how do I affect society? I can't affect it by going into politics because I don't want to go into politics because I think I make more money doing this than I'll ever make as a politician, right? So let me invest money in hospitals, in radiation or imaging departments. Why? Because I was told by a doctor that by a minister of health that that's how we funnel the budgets. right? The longer we wait for people to get their results from imaging, the longer it takes to treat you. So now I can gauge how many people I want to treat based on how much time, how many slots are available. So if I buy another machine for your hospital and I force you to keep both machines operating, you just busted your budget. Because now you have twice as many results, twice as many people are going to get treated, and those people are going to get treated earlier than later, which means their cancer may not have advanced as far as, too bad, man, sorry, we should have got you 3 months earlier. It's not my fault, you guys stalled me, right? And so there's got to be something in it for the person giving money, right? And the day that you believe that there are...
Everybody does it from the goodness of their heart.
That means you're not even a liberal at this point.
Yeah.
You're not even NDP. You're further to the left, and you're in La La Land, dreamland, right? The truth of the matter is very simple. If we look at every great change of the world, it was done by a selfish individual. Think about that. The person who wanted to, I don't know, find the cure to the people that are working on the cure to cancer. Everybody wants to win a Nobel Prize in medicine. Everybody wants to be the first one. And everybody knows that whoever finds it's going to get that big check and so forth. And his name's going to go down. You know, Louis
Legacy,
Pasteur, right? Louis Pasteur, his name went down in history because he found, he discovered that the penicillin and so forth. So all that to say what? To say that as much as Gordon Gekko's a movie, in Wall Street, greed is good. And yes, people will go and may take it to a level of...
Not good,
right?
Too much.
But that's called humanity.
Yeah.
That's not selfishness. The joke is, I always like to tell people, selfishness doesn't make humans bad. Humanity makes humans bad. Because at the end of the day, right, as I said to you in off air, if I'm going to say, is every once in a while I have my devil on my shoulder that says, seriously, man, what the hell were you thinking about? What the hell would you do that? It's crazy. Even the devil says, what are you, stupid? Why would you do something so controversial? But you do it. And in the hope sometimes that it's going to create a trigger, right? When I said that maybe we should, in Quebec, we should make French movies that people want to see and not these award-winning things. Everybody, that was like, for French Canadians, attacking their culture the way the cultural sector saw it, not Monsieur and Madame Tout le Monde, as I like to say. They didn't really care about my comment, but the way the culture, it's almost like Salman Rushdie saying what he said in his
Satanic verses.
It was like a direct attack. I should have gotten security guards or whatever. and I used to laugh. I'd say, what are you talking about? I'm Italian. I provide the security. I don't think.
Don't you know who I am?
I don't need the security.
Don't you know the shirt I'm wearing?
That's right.
Even though it's not true.
That's right.
You said to me, I think last week, you wrote me a text, and you said I would be getting Mr. Sunshine 2.0 on this podcast. What did you mean by that, Mr. Sunshine 2.0? Because of what you've gone through in the last 14 months, you're just a new guy, or this is the second chapter, and what does it mean?
Well, it means that at my 50th,
which was
June 11,
5 years ago, 4 years ago.
June 11,
69.
2019, sorry. So I did a fundraiser.
I was there. I was your MC. Yeah.
I did a fundraiser out of it. It was funny because when I invited a few friends, they said, what do you mean I got to pay $1,500 to come to your birthday? Yeah, it's a fundraiser, bro. You're paying? Don't buy me a gift. Just give me the money and I'm giving it to the Jewish General Hospital.
Nice.
One of the person that spoke in the part of the roast and whatever was Sal Parasuco.
You mentioned him 3 times, by the way, and he was a former guest on this podcast. For a reason, you mentioned Sal.
Yeah.
You love Sal.
So not only do I love Sal, I see Sal sometimes, and through his smile, through his way of being this, I see the family, the pain, the loneliness. And he's got 2 lovely daughters, got a lovely wife, but the loneliness in saying, I built all of this, and I was doing it for my brothers, my sisters. He adores his mother. His mother passed away, but and so forth. And yet, he's felt the call it the envy, the hurt from close friends. betrayal doesn't come from your enemies. Think about that.
No.
A lot of people don't realize that. You never get betrayed by an enemy.
No.
Because you're not expecting anything from it. That's right. Right? You always get betrayed by a family member or by a friend or by somebody that you admired or so forth, right? And so Sal, Sal's 16 years older than I.
He looks great, by the way.
He does. No, he does. And as a young person, I grew up with older people because I was an only child. So I was always sitting at the table and listening to these arguments of older people. And my fourth son, Delano, happens to have that situation because he would always want to come with us in the Hamptons, and so always a bunch of older guys talking, whatever. And he'd be on his phone, and sometimes Sal would go, shut up, the kid's here. The kid's going to hear. It can't be. And Delano would stop and say, seriously? You guys think I don't hear you? Like, I it's 2 hours I hear you. But I can play my game on the thing and listen to you guys.
And listen to
don't
the
worry
whole
about
thing.
it. I can do both, right? And so the idea is that Sal and I have had discussions about family, but yet we're not family. You know what I mean? Like we've almost compared notes and said, really? And then I would tell him stuff, and he'd say, I didn't think about that. You're right. So as a 54-year-old, I was educating a 70-year-old, but obviously that looks extraordinary. But the 70-year-old educating the 50-year-old or 54-year-old, that seemed natural. But I remember him at my 50th, he said to me, you're going to see, tomorrow, it's a new day. It's a new day every tomorrow. I said, what are you talking about? You're 50 now. I don't get it. Life changes at 50. I'm like, get out, Sal. It's in your mind. Stop it. Man, he was right.
Yes.
He was right because, and Jim Tree Living did the same thing to me, only he did it differently. He said the same thing to me. He said, you turned 50 this year, yeah? So, has it changed yet? No, what are you talking about? Remember, it's 2019, right? The show airs in September, so no, nothing's changed. What are you talking about? Why you guys, then 2020 comes along. 6 months later, everything changes. We're in COVID, we're in a mess, right? But what he had done to make me realize why it changes is he took a ruler, one of those measuring tape, the construction measuring tapes, and he said, life expectancy for a man is 75 years. So he rules out 75 inches, puts it on the table, because that's your life. Okay?
He really did this to you, right?
Yeah. And then he pulled on the red button, and he took back 50 inches. I go, okay?
That's scary shit, yeah, when you look at it that way.
This is what you have left. Mm-hmm. Oh, fuck. Whoa. What do you mean that's all I have left? Life expectancy. Could be shorter, buddy. Could be longer.
Yep.
Right? Because in this case, it's longer, but could be. And that's when you realize and you say to yourself, shit, you waste the first 25 of your life thinking, I got time. Then middle 25, between paying a mortgage, making money, falling in love, trying to understand what relationships are in 2022, 2024, whatever it is. You wake up one day and you say, holy shit, I have 1/3 of my life left.
Or less.
What the hell am I doing?
Yeah.
Why am I prioritizing this? Why am I prioritizing that? And so you start telling yourself, okay, whoa. So I got to start this rat race. I should have started earlier, right? And there used to be my dad used to ask this all the time. So every time my dad met an old friend or somebody they got close to, that was called older and wiser. My dad would always say, what would you give to go back to being 16? Right? So let's say the guy was in his mid-60s or whatever, to start over. Right? And like nobody seemed to be determined to say, I'd give anything to go back. See, man, these guys are all weird. Why wouldn't they want to go back? Who doesn't want to live forever? Right? The song, Who Wants to Live Forever? Mm-hmm. And that's when you realize that, can you really go back? Right? Can you really go back? And should you go back? So first of all, if you go back, that means all the people that you met, you will see them die. It's not pleasant, right? And if you go back with what you know today, that makes you a genius And
You will have learned nothing, really.
well, no, but the truth of the matter is, as a genius,
You know everything.
who are you going to talk to? You have even less. Look, you became a smart person and you felt alone in your success journey. You now go back at 16. You're now brilliant.
Yeah.
So now you're like Sheldon on what's it called? On Big Bang Theory, right?
You know everything. You can't relate.
And you can't relate to it. And so you realize, and so somebody asked me that. I was in the Hamptons this summer, and they said, it must be cool being you. Yeah. What are you looking at? The car, right? You're looking at the Ferrari, right? You're looking at the house, right? You're looking at the watch. I get it.
They don't understand.
You don't know what it took to get there, right?
Right.
And he said to me, out of the blue, what would you do to go back and be your daughter's age? Absolutely nothing.
No.
I want to continue my journey.
Of course.
Till I get to 75, 80, maybe 85. And may God take me when I no longer understand why people are crazy and they do what they do. Then take me. Because then you're just, I'm an overthinker, right? And people need to understand that successful people are overthinkers.
Oh, yeah.
Because when you overthink,
Different breed.
you're looking at things differently. All right? My boys, when they play chess, they don't want me in the room. Because they know I'll always help the younger.
You're analyzing 5, 6,
I already
7
know.
moves.
I
You
already know the
yeah.
habit of the way he thinks, the way he's going to move. So I already saw the thing. So, without specifying where I was, because I don't want to open the door to that, but I was playing backgammon with somebody who I think was trying to hustle me. Because you know how to play backgammon? Yeah, we only got time. You want to play? Yeah, let's play. Okay, first one to 5 wins. Okay. So I win 3 games. Then I remember who he is. So, I don't think he's going to be too happy if I beat him out, straight 5, So I let him win 2 games, and then I win another 2, and so I win 5-2, and so I win the games. So he says, how much do I owe you? What do you mean how much you owe me? I didn't realize you were playing for money. Nobody's got money in here. He says to me, of course we pay for money. Why wouldn't we pay for money? No, it's because if I knew we were playing for money, I wouldn't have let you win those 2 games. Because what do you mean? You let me win? Seriously? You don't realize how predictable you are, the way you play? And then I spent 3 hours showing him how I knew exactly. If you rolled a set of 6s, I knew exactly what pieces he would move. Right? And so you're going there and you go, how did you? Because you know how many guys I've watched play? This was because my dad, when I was a child, my dad used to own a sports bar. In Italian, we get a coffee, which also meant playing cards.
Yep.
Okay. So
that's where you learn how to play.
So I'm staying there and I'm just looking and I'm trying. So I would look at the guy, look at his facial expression, then I'd see what he's putting down. I'd say, okay, so when he does that weird face, that means he's got a good hand. And so you now start analyzing people, right? And that's how now you get to understand people's lies, the bluff. I get told by people, how did you know they were lying? What do you mean, how do I know he was lying? You didn't see the person's reaction. You see
You
the
got
way
the tells.
You just, and you tell, and so it's not scientific at 99.9%, but it's
pretty
close
accurate.
enough. That's close enough for me to be right. And that's where what happens eventually is that you need to disconnect with people, right? And I can tell you that the summer away, it was interesting because it disconnected me from the real world and it connected me to the really important people, which were my kids, because one of the things I want to do in the next 21 years, life expectancy.
Let's call it 21.
Right? Is make sure that whatever failures, whatever I did wrong, I want to tell them so they know. Right?
You want to tell your kids, here's what I would avoid, here are dad's mistakes.
That's right. Even though
you would not have regrets.
No, it's not. Well, regrets serve nothing.
No.
They give you nothing. All they do is they ruin your present for a past that you can't change.
Can't control.
So who cares, right? But for example, you also have to admit, as I've repeated often to the mother of the kids, you can't raise your kids the way we were raised. That world doesn't exist anymore.
Not even close.
Right? So in other words, you can't tell me, take the kids off social media. No. Educate the kids how to be on social media. Educate those kids how to be more. And, something very strange happened to me. My daughter came home from school, and then she said, the police was at school today. Okay, what happened? She says, well, every year they do that thing where they come and see you, and they make sure that nobody, they explain to you that you're not supposed to send, I would call them sex pictures.
Provocative
provocative
messages.
stuff. Don't do that. Don't get conned into. Right, they're right. There's nothing wrong with that. Okay, no problem. Then June comes along. Happens what happens. Now I'm in the Hamptons. All of a sudden, I got like grown women on Instagram sending me awkward stuff, and I said, "But I don't get."
So wait a minute. They were sending you.
They were sending me
Awkward stuff.
Yeah, like they wanted to
Hook
go
up
on a date.
Yeah.
Because
they. Yeah.
I
get it.
Because of what happened, they said, for sure that marriage is over. So let's, that. And I said this, but how does this person even know me?
They don't.
No. The joke is they did.
They did know you.
And I said, why is she mentioning my daughter? So I would go see my daughter. Says, who is this? Oh, my friend. That's her mother. What? Are you kidding me? This is a grown woman, like she's in her mid 40s, early 50s. And so that's when I tell myself, you see, that's what happens to the people who didn't grow up with social media. They don't realize that that's not okay.
That's not normal.
Bon.
Yeah.
Now, our kids, what are we doing? We're telling them ahead of time, so many times, over and over and over and over. It's not okay to do that. Don't do that. It's not right to do that. It's not a good thing to do that. That eventually is going to sink in. Right? And that's where the whole, like, for example, when we were younger, right, because of the AIDS epidemic and the whole thing, safe sex was ingrained in our minds.
Yeah. Now
Today, what are you talking about?
Mm-hmm.
Why? Well, no, it's not the same feeling. What are you talking? You're 14 years old, 15 years
What do you
old.
know
What
about
feeling? You're not
feelings?
supposed to have a feeling. You're not even supposed to be doing it. So what feeling are you talking about, right? And that's where those 6 weeks in the Hamptons, that's where turning 50. Oh, sorry.
What did you drop? Your phone?
Yeah, I dropped one of my phones. Put it this way. So, but that's what Sal was talking about. It's that when you turn 50, you start, like, your level of wisdom is at a certain level where you start slowing down. Now you have more time to think. And the minute you start thinking, now you realize even more how you're disconnected with a whole bunch of people.
Yes.
Because when you work so much, you don't even have time
to think
about
no, you're so right.
the anomalies of the world, right? Like, for example, let's talk economics a bit. I get a call from the Bank of Canada saying,
Wait, the Bank of Canada called you?
Yeah, so I have an economics degree, right? And as head of a publicly known company, and as somebody who has been asked many times about my sector,
Your business, yeah.
They'll call me up and say, "What are you expecting for the next 12 months? Well, how do you see the
economy?" They do that to forecast what's.
Yeah, and they do it not only with me, but they do it a whole bunch.
Okay, yeah.
Now,
not the first time they contact.
That's right, not the first time. But the nice thing about me is that because I have an economics degree, I can speak to them because it's an economics, an economist that calls me. So now we're talking as co-workers almost, right? So he says to me, we're trying to. What do you think inflation is going to be like? I says, right after COVID's over, inflation is going to start dropping by itself. So we shouldn't be raising interest rates? No. Why are you raising interest rates? Well, we want to slow down inflation. But who told you that by raising interest rates, you're going to reduce inflation? Well, Mr. Guzzo, you have an economics degree, you know that. Yeah, but it's a theory. It doesn't work. Well, but of course it works. No, it doesn't. No. Think about it. You raise my interest rates. I now have to pay more in interest. To cover that, I got to raise my ticket prices. So ticket prices went from $10 to $13.50. It's defying the purpose.
And food prices and
Like
everything that went
you
up.
have a crisis that created this, right? And so I said, you guys are not getting it. You got to let it, and they said, we're having a mild, what did they say? I think they said a mild recession. Mild for who? You realize that most people who have open loans, with the increase in their interest rate, they're now making the same payment as before, but only in interest, not interest and capital.
Right.
Which means now the capital is everybody's going bankrupt.
Horrible.
Technically.
Yep.
It's like all of the property values are dropping, right? Foreign investors are coming in and getting it on the cheap. But the problem is that it's a mathematical mistake. right? And it's sad because we should be stimulating the economy, because our recession was really COVID.
Yeah, that was it.
That was the one that killed a whole bunch of people. So now you got to be stimulating the economy. But no, if we do that, we're going to increase inflation. So on Friday, I was in Toronto. I've been, I had a gig where I had to go for a Christmas party of a transport company, and the guy in particular, the president of that company in particular, is somebody who was on Dragon's Den as a pitcher, right? So so I got to know him and whatever. And so I'm at this event, and I asked him, how are transport costs going? We're getting killed now. What do you mean you're getting killed now? As much as we were flying during COVID, now we're getting killed. Why? Because now everybody realized that we took advantage. So everybody's saying, looks to me, the $12,000 a container, I'm not paying you. I have $5,000. You take it or leave it, or else I'm going somewhere else. Why? Because now people are not moving as much stuff. Mm-hmm. So now you have the same 5 companies who now are all looking for business. Everybody expanded too quickly. Everybody has too many trucks now. Everybody has got too many containers. So everybody now needs to. It's a bit like in the construction business, when we subtrate out work, we get 3 quotes. And when I was younger, I couldn't understand. I was like, I'm not getting what's going on. I'd get, let's say, for a job, $1 million, $1.5 million, and $2 million. Didn't the guys look at the same plans? How did the guy from $1 million go to $2 million?
Double.
Right?
Yeah.
The truth of the matter is, the guy at $2 million, he has too much work. He can't even take your contract. But he's willing to push another contract aside if you're willing to pay him twice the price. He says, you know what, I'm not stupid. I'll take Guzzo's contract and I'll move over another guy. I'll drop a smaller contract so I have the time to do it. The guy that's at $1 million, he has no work. He needs the job. So he's willing to undercut his margins to get the job. Mm-hmm. That's called the free market enterprise.
Yep.
So don't touch interest rates. Drop everything back down to what the market should be. Because right now, you're basically have a knife at everybody's throat. And
things are about to get really bad.
Oh, yeah.
Very bad.
I think things are going to get... So what's interesting for the movie business...
Yeah, I was going to ask you, how does it affect your business?
So our business is a cyclical business. What people don't realize is going to the movies is about a generational issue. So when you were a teenager, you would go to the movies. Well, you become a little older, now you have a mortgage to pay, you have kids, you have this, you have that. So a whole bunch of, you have a dog, so all kinds of things. But the same stories have to be told, right? So we still say the, Little Red Riding Hood to the kids that, when they're young. The problem is it's the same story. But if you tell me the same story to me that you tell to my daughter, like I have an iPad, I see cool stuff. You got to give me something cooler. Mm-hmm. So the guy who made me realize that the 10, 15-year cyclical periods in the movie business is James Cameron.
Big director.
Yeah. And I said this at the Outwater Club, and I said, I'm going to spare you the details, but we were in the bathroom, 2 men at urinals. And I looked up and I said, hey, you're James Cameron. He goes, yeah. I said, how do you feel that your ex-wife with a dinky movie like Hurt Locker won the Academy Award and you didn't get it for Avatar? So he looked
Who's this guy?
He looked at me and said, you look familiar. Yeah, I'm Vince Guzzo. I would shake your hands, but given what we're doing right now, it's a little weird. Yeah, let's not shake hands. Okay. Oh, you're the guy from Canada. Yeah, I know who you are. Yeah, you fit your reputation. What do you mean? It's a very annoying question you just asked me. Why? Because it hurts your ego, right? And he goes, yeah. But then I remember the $200 million profit I made off Avatar, and I'm all good. It's okay. She can have the Academy Award. I'll have it another time. Everything, right? But in that ensued an incredible friendship and ensued a discussion, which was...
Wait, you're good friends with James Cameron?
Well, good enough to have that if I go to LA, I can call him up and go for lunch or whatever.
That's
right?
very cool.
And so, he won't put me in a movie.
No.
He says, you're a reality show star. You're not.
But that's cool.
You're not an actor, right?
Yeah.
So he says to me, I say to him, so how did you manage to have the number 1 and number 2 top grossing movies? Remember, when Avatar came out, what's it called? Marvel, Endgame.
Oh, Endgame, yeah.
Endgame hadn't come out yet, right? So he's got He's got Avatar, and then under that is Titanic.
Yep.
So said,
I was just going to mention that.
Yeah, he goes, how did you do it? He goes, seriously, you don't know? No, I don't. What are you going to tell me? That because you're a genius or something? Because, we had become friends enough to, I could tease him. You realize it's the same movie, right? The premise is the same.
The love story and everything?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I go, it's the love story. Bon. So, basically, we're in a phase right now in our industry where the Marvel superheroes, if it's not something that's already... So, when the first Iron Man came out, it was somewhat of a flop. I thought it was cool.
I thought it was cool.
When I came out of the movie, everybody said, what did you think? Call me Iron Man. This is like...
I thought that was... The original was the best one.
Yeah. Well, yes, but the mass didn't go for it.
Right.
Then they saw it, and so basically what's going on now is this whole thing of we need to change superheroes. We need to make inclusive superheroes. We need to do this and we need to do that. Guys, you're burying the story in all kinds of political correctness. And so it's making the transition a little more complicated. But what we've seen is that Barbie made a killing. Okay. So now.
So that was good. Yes. A very good movie for you.
So you can tell now that there's a changing of the guard. The generation of, call it my son Angelo, 26 years old, my son Vittorio, 24, they're on their way out. They're no longer going to be the regular moviegoers. They're going to be the Godfather's coming out. Oh, now we're going to watch that because it's supposed to be an incredible movie. So it's going to grab everybody. So Oppenheimer brought back a whole bunch of whiteheads, as I call them, tête blanche, and so forth. But what filled in the auditoriums was Barbie. The new generation, they're so used to all kinds of other stuff for effects that effects are no longer impressive. Now, I want a story.
Episode 150 of the Drive-By Podcast with Vince Guzzo is sponsored by Les Délices Lafrenais. Simplement délicieux, simply delicious. Vince walked into my brand new studio. And even though he said hi, gave me a nice warm welcome, even before he noticed how nice this studio is and he walked in or anything, first thing that caught his eye was the boxes from Les Délices Lafrenais. You could fit about 4 pastries in here, maybe about 6 to 8 in here. He opened up the boxes to find an empty box. I said, Vince, these ones happen to be prop boxes, right? But there's always pastries flowing at the Drive-By Studios. And I also got you, I also got him an Italian panino filled with cold cuts, favorite cold cuts, which they'll do and press for you at the Brossard location. You could check them out there in the deli section, or maybe you're looking to get nice coffee, middle of the day. They have the pastries displayed now, more cakes than ever in their newly expanded store. And you could do some grocery shopping with Italian products direct from Italy. 5 Montreal locations: St. Leonard, Rosemere, Pointe Claire, Montreal West, and Brossard. It's Les Délices Lafrenais.
I want to feel butterfly.
Something.
Right? In other words, love story, Titanic, Avatar, same ending.
Same structure.
The couple doesn't end together.
No.
The woman dies. In Titanic, the guy dies.
Yeah.
In the other one, they separate another way. So the movie business is, like I said, I would give it another. I think 2024 is going to be a big year. I think what we've done in 2021, 2022 is we've gotten out of the way this whole thing of people want to stay home and they want to watch everything at home.
I think people want to get out now.
I think people want to get out. I think people, and it's the same thing when I think there was a poll that recently said that nightclubs are having a bit of a hard time because the population is getting older. No, it's not. That's not why nightclubs are having a hard time. It's because they're just not adapting to the new 15, 16, 17, 18-year-olds.
You have to change with the times.
You got to change it up, right?
Yeah.
And so
they're using the same formula.
That's right.
All these businesses.
Like I don't go. Like I haven't look. I can put it this way. I was relieved of my obligations, so I could have gone to nightclubs every night if I wanted to, but I never went. Why? Because that's not where I want to. Like I don't want to meet somebody in a nightclub. I don't want to meet somebody in a. I don't even want want to meet somebody. Maybe I already know too many people, right? You know what I'm trying to say?
You don't need to know more.
So, that's right. And so people change.
Yeah.
Our tastes change. I think finally, we were saying it. I was telling LA, I would say it's a good 5-6 years. Guys, stop with the effects. I need a story. I need to cry. Not because I want to cry. I need to cry. You need to take advantage of me in my emotions. You got to give me the roller coaster of emotions.
Which is the same in television, radio.
That's right.
And they haven't changed with the times. And because you don't change with the times, you're not giving the audience that emotion.
That's right.
Right? And relating to them. Same thing with the movie industry.
That's right.
That's the threat to your business. That could be going downhill because of that.
And that's why even the reality show. So, I renovated the house and I got a lot of new pop art. Very
like this stuff in the back.
Yeah, like a lot more young. Like, I mean, if you come to the house, it's a totally different vibe, right? And that's part of the Mr. Sunshine 2.0. In other words, normally I'd have a blue blazer, right? Or and
you're more comfy.
I'm all in black, and I'm wearing So, COVID told me I could wear a T-shirt, but the minute COVID was over, I put my shirt back on, my button down, and whatever. I'm wearing a T-shirt now. Okay, if you don't mind, anybody.
Yeah.
And so all that to say what? To say that I've pitched a new concept reality show, which is, let's not have a partially scripted reality show that we're going to pretend is a reality show where a bunch of girls are going to date guys, break up with them, and then make controversy and then do a few sex tapes here and there to make even more. Mm-hmm. Let's have a real reality show where some guy's in his office and he's pondering the meaning of life that day. And I can tell you that it's more than one episode to ponder the meaning of life. And then when you got kid number 1 who says that, I want to get married. You're insane. Don't do it. Like that. And
there's so much.
You see, and many times there's so much stuff that needs to get explained to this new generation of people, of youngsters. Because when I say to people, so I have a friend of mine, paisan of mine, who comes from the same little hometown as my parents do, whose son got engaged. And so, she posted on Instagram and this. So I DM'd her direct and says, you didn't want to tell me ahead of time, when I was with him 2 weeks ago, because I would have convinced him not to do it. She said, shut up. They all have to make their mistakes. Yeah, but did you at least tell him the mistakes not to make? Shut up. He has to learn by himself. So what are you telling me? It's okay. Nowadays, everybody's allowed to one divorce. And that's when I said to myself, look at how frivolous divorce has become. Because everybody does it, it's okay.
It's okay.
Right?
Yeah, that's another thing, yeah.
And I had a discussion with some women and some men, and I said, the biggest selfish pitch that I've ever heard from lawyers and couples therapists is, it's okay if people get divorced. The kids will be fine. Really? Which metrics are you using? Because I haven't seen one metric that says that
ever
kids that
happens.
divorced people are in a better situation than when they're in a united family. Like, I'm not understanding what you're saying. And that's where the problem is that thank God, they're really on the way out, the baby boomers. I think their own selfishness has created a society that's a little lost.
I agree.
I sat down, not with my son. I sat down with the girlfriends. I said, do you guys know what you're doing? Do you know what marriage is? And they were like, no, I just want to tell you. Because right now you guys are in love. So the fact that he leaves the seat up, it's okay, I love him, and you put the seat down. Trust me, I've seen people get a divorce over a goddamn seat. Put it up, put it down. You know what? Buy a total one. Spend 10 grand. Buy the total one. It's going to go up and down by itself. And we're all good. You save yourself.
How much? 10 grand?
10 grand. You save yourself $1 million legal bill from a divorce, right? But the truth of the matter is, we don't communicate anymore.
No.
Right? And if we do try and communicate, then you become a pain in the ass, like you. Like you're too controversial. What does that mean? You notice I don't consider myself controversial. I consider myself polarizing. I put you at extreme poles because that's what people want to hear. Right? The minute I say that, you know what happens? Oh, fuck, I can't even criticize him anymore. He criticized himself.
Exactly.
But I don't consider being polarizing being an insult. I consider it being, I put my cards down on the table up front.
Yes.
If you're going to talk to me like a whack job and you're going to tell me, because
you're right.
you know, I don't want to have a discussion about the environment, right? Because that we should be more respectful of our planet. And I'm
absolutely
all
yes.
in. I'm all in.
Yeah.
But you do realize, right, that they're talking about bringing back nuclear power. So now, to avoid carbon emissions, we're going to go to the nuclear. Because we seem to have forgotten what happens when one of those things goes wrong.
Chernobyl,
right.
et cetera, et cetera.
Or when a plane decides he's going to fly out of route and dive into it, maybe, right? Because he went into 2 towers. Maybe it was going to... So,
you never know.
Right. It's a little crazy. But what kills me every time is, why do people have to talk to me or to us?
Mm-hmm. You're including me in this group?
Yeah, because when I have a politician say up front, if we do this, we will reduce by 4%, by 4 degrees, the heating of the planet. What are you talking about? Where do you get this from? There's not enough data. There's not enough data on climate change. In other words, historic data.
Yeah.
Is historic heat, back, down.
We know we're in there's a 12,000-year cycle. We know that.
Okay.
But the data.
But nobody has the data, right?
No, it's 100.
So it's not like the movie industry that every 15 years we can see.
Yeah, you see something.
This thing.
Yeah.
Okay, look, there's a
You
pattern.
have real
here.
data since it started. It's inception.
So for me now, it's either we get politicians who are going to start saying, okay, look, guys, Mr. Guzzo said it. The minute I do a forecast of what I think I'm going to do in 2024, the day January 1st, 2024, my forecast is no good anymore. Because how am I going to, in other words, it's my best guess estimate. Mm-hmm. But I have 40 years of movie theater expertise. Plus I got my father's 20 years longer than me in there. So I got 60 years. Plus I got a whole industry. Now some past presidential candidate in the U.S. comes up and says, if we do this, we're going to get 4%, 4 degrees less warming up of the planet. Really? Because I don't know about you guys. During the summer, it gets really warm. But if I go to the Hamptons, it wasn't that warm this year. It was so-so. But it's pretty cold outside right now.
Yep.
Well, what happened to the warming up now? It doesn't... So where the problem is it's the same thing as during COVID, right? COVID was a specific problem. That people weren't asking questions.
People never seem to ask the right questions or questions in general.
Or just questions, because it's seen as if you ask the question, you're being confrontational. Mm-hmm. Right? So I asked the question.
Just you saying this today gets in the hands of to one person and say, oh, he's a climate change denier. And you're not.
No,
at all.
Look,
but this is how people think.
And I'll give you...
take something you said and twist it and say, he said, look at how cold it is today.
So I'll tell you how, let's call it the big con, right? I call it the big con, the way everybody's being conned. So I was invited many, many years ago to go to Bologna, all expenses paid. And I went to see the launching of the LaFerrari, which was Ferrari's first hybrid vehicle. It's a hell of a surprise when I realized that the first 750 horsepowers were gas. And then if you needed an extra 150 to get to 900 horsepower,
just in case,
then the electrical kicked in.
Okay.
So because back then the president of Ferrari North America was a guy called Marco Mattiacci, a very good friend of mine. I made him meet his wife, Montreal girl, so he's from Rome and everything. I said, hey, can you explain to me I'm never going to use the batteries, right? Yeah, I know. So why did you make a hybrid car where I'm not going to use the battery? It's because we had to meet the European guidelines of converting cars from gas to electric. Yeah. So we put the electric at the end. Yeah,
Not the other way around.
In Italian, though, so I said to him in Italian, I said, no. I said, oh, Marco, ma che sei una presa per culo over here? Like, you're really taking me for a moron there.
Yeah.
If you want, once the car is delivered, take out the batteries. What do we care? No, I don't care. But, that being said, I did not buy the LaFerrari. But, the 296 GTB hybrid car, V6, where the batteries are in the front of the gas.
Hybrid starts.
The hybrid
then
starts.
It goes to the gas.
I can switch it to gas if I want, but
Right.
I can start gas, I can start hybrid, right?
That's a good car?
It's a beautiful car. I bought the car.
Oh, you bought it. Nice.
I bought it, and I seem to forget that I have to charge it. So sometimes it charges by itself as I'm driving, as I'm braking. I don't even know how they charge that thing. But the conclusion is that when I go from my house to the office, I don't use gas. It makes sense.
Yep.
The problem that nobody's understanding is that it makes sense because we pay, 6 cents?
For hydro?
For a kilowatt hour for hydro. In Italy, hydro costs more than the gas. People actually fuel generators to give them electricity versus the hydroelectrical dams. And so that's where now the problem is that yes, we need to find a solution. Who are the big polluters, right? Is it really the cars? Is it really the traffic? What is it? Like, what can we do to reduce the pollution? So you're never going to see me in a march for the environment. There's no reason for me to be there. There's already too many people. Half of the city's already marching. They don't need me.
There's a march every day.
But I can tell you that when my son takes a bottle and he throws it in the garbage, and I say, but why'd you throw it in the garbage for? What do you mean? It's a plastic bottle. Put it in the recycling. What's the difference? The difference is that here it gets recycled and then it goes into the garbage. Oh, okay. But once again, did anybody ever explain to this generation why plastic bottles were invented? Because it was a question of hygiene. There was no chances of making a mistake. Because when you take when you take glass bottles and you clean them and you return them and there's consignment and sometimes the cleaning doesn't get done 100%, and then you get an epidemic of people getting some bug or something, right? And so plastic bottles were great because they were disposable. The problem is we didn't realize that we were going to dispose so much of it, right? And then when they take pictures of garbage on a beach, like at the beach club in Calumet or whatever,
it's all full of bottles.
But
plastics are everywhere.
Yeah, I know, but it's not the manufacturer who threw them there. Right?
No, it's the people.
It's the people.
Exactly.
Right? The same people are saying we got to protect the environment.
Yep.
Right? They're throwing it. And that's where the whole idea is. And, there's a lot of things that need to change. And because of the last 14 months, I can tell you that sometimes the only way to have change is shit really has to hit the fan. People have to hit rock bottom to say, okay, wait up a minute. There's something I'm doing wrong, right? So I haven't posted it in a long time, but I'm going to post it. I said, we are the result of the cumulative bad decisions we made. Mm-hmm. If you want a better result, make better decisions.
It's true.
Right? Because you need to realize that every bad decision you take has a psychological impact on you.
And your population.
And
governments make a lot of bad decisions, politicians.
Well, because it's not their pockets.
No.
Right?
Exactly. Yep.
It's not their, I don't want to be mean, but why the hell was Boeing given a military contract with no bid? And why was Bombardier not taken into account? Mm-hmm. I'm not a Bombardier shareholder, so I don't care. But
right.
What? Since when has it become that to look like I'm being fair to international firms, I need to treat badly my local firms? So I have to exclude you from the bidding so that a foreign company gets it, so that I look like I'm welcoming foreign investment. Seriously? Who's employing my people? The local guys. Why don't you take care of the local guys? And that's where the discussion with my future daughter-in-laws was about appreciate the husband or the boyfriend or the man you have in your life. Don't try and say he could be 20% better, but he's 80% perfect. You want 100.
It's impossible.
You know that you're giving away 80 to go get the extra 20. I'm not sure. What happens if you go get the extra 20, but the 80 is no longer there? Then you're only 20%. Mm-hmm. Right? And that happens to us, on Dragons Den I say it often. I'm already married. If I want to have a headache, I'm already married. I don't need to partner up in business with somebody to have a headache, because a business relationship is like a marriage.
Yeah, it is.
If it's going to give me grief, not interested. Mm-hmm. Why would I want to become your partner if we're going to just argue all the time? Right? We have to be
common ground. Yep.
That's right.
Yeah.
It's things like that.
Vince, you're always philosophical. You always have great things to say. I'm telling you. And now, not only do you say them, out loud in person as you check your phone. I'm not checking my phone. I'm actually bringing up a couple of things that you posted recently because they're so good. I had to screenshot them. So these are the types of messages, memes, social media messages that you put out. And so I'm curious as to two things. Mm-hmm. Your thoughts about what I'm about to read. And then, sometimes people will say, oh, Vince, I know how Vince is feeling today based on the messages he's putting out. No, you don't, right? He's just or sometimes they'll look into it, right? They'll look into it a little more going, what does this mean? What's the meaning behind Vince Guzzo putting this out? And it could be any of these types of things that I'm going to read now. So here's one of them that made me laugh. I look at people sometimes and think, for real? That's the sperm that won?
And then
tap here.
and then you tap there, and the next one says, if you got offended by my comment, just think about the things I didn't say.
Right.
Imagine how offensive that is.
Yeah. But it's so true. But it really is true, though. How did you make that
the problem
that club?
So sometimes when I was in law school, the course I hated the most. Okay, so because I'm not a lawyer in the sense that I didn't go to bar school, I can say this. I don't think I ever attended more than 1 or 2 classes for each subject. The only 2 classes that I attended every single class was tax law and constitutional law. But let me tell you something. I cannot stand constitutional law. It's called droit constitutionnel et administratif. Like, seriously, kill me now. Okay. But this is why I went.
Yeah.
No, not because the teacher was good looking, because that's what some people would say. No, it's because the teacher was Pierre Elliott Trudeau. So because of who he was, right? But with that in mind now, ask yourself like this. If he can take such a boring subject and make me want to go listen, because I actually thought he was going to say something that, was going to make it important.
Mm-hmm. An impact on your life.
Right. So I said to myself, if somebody doesn't put a little controversy here every once in a while and says something really outrageous that sounds outrageous, right? But it's the truth. In other words, what's normality? Right? Is normality the people that voted in some of the stupidest politicians we've ever had? Oh, but he's good looking. Excuse me? But he's good looking. But what do you mean he's good looking? Who cares if he's good looking? I don't want a good looking prime minister. He's got a nicer set of hair than you do. I'm going to shave myself bald if it's for that. What do I care about the hair? I want somebody or
actually I have better hair.
Or Harper. No, what was it? It's because Harper was too patronizing. He was almost like an uncle. But I'd rather have an experienced uncle running the country than my cousin who's on weed. It just doesn't make sense. It's like you guys are crazy. And so that comment is to make people realize, guys, stop listening to people around you. There's way more stupid people than there are intelligent people. And the problem is this. Why would you ask somebody that knows absolutely nothing about you, doesn't know what you're going through?
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
I know what you're going to say.
Right? So in other words, I when people look at who my friends are, right? They say to me, You're very selective with your friends. No. I have friends from the old neighborhood. Guys that are in the construction business. Not owners. They're in the hole digging. They got dirty, cracked hands. That guy, I'm going to go talk to him about soccer. I'm going to talk to him about who's better, Messi, Pele, whoever. Okay, like, not going to go ask him, what do you think interest rates are going to do? What do you think I should do? Right? I'm going to go see somebody. But you know how many young people only swear by their friends? But who's your friend? What does your friend know about you? And this one's for women out there. You know, every time I see women, the way they interact, because, you know, one of the things that you didn't bring up in one of my posts is I put a lot of women empowerment through my daughter stuff. One of my biggest viewed stories is about my daughter. A story where I say that I gave a car to my daughter, and I tell my daughter, go sell the car, see what you can get for it. So she went in one place and she got offered $1,000. She went in another place, she got offered $5,000. She went to another place, she got $100,000 offered. Moral of the story: know your worth and know where you have to go to get the maximum value for who you are, like the car, right? All that to say what? To say, when I look at the hypocrisy in society today, everybody's good at giving advice.
Everybody's an expert.
Everybody's an expert, right? So the people I feel the worst for are women. Why? Because they're caught between a hard place and a rock. And I don't want my daughter to be caught between a hard place and a rock.
Or a rock and a hard place.
Or a rock and a hard place. Right? Either way. But, and what I mean by that is, if you're a career woman with no kids, she's not a woman. She's got no motherly instinct. If you're a mother with 4 kids, well, what does she do? She doesn't have a career. She's nobody. She's just tagged to whoever her husband is. It's like women could never make other women happy. So the best thing to do is don't make them happy. Tell them to go fly a kite. And think about what's important for you. You know, one of the things that was repeated over and over again the last 14 months in various therapy, this was...
You were in therapy?
Yes, yeah. I went to couples therapy. I mean, I think it's just legitimate to try and, you know...
Resolve.
You mean... what I always like to say, a good couples therapist will help you and better your communication skills. If he can't do that, then he's not helping you, right? Because remember, in love and hate, there's always a marriage. The problem is you don't want to be on the hate side of that marriage, right? And so, in therapy, one of the things that was often, you know, discussed was what's being controlling and what's being protective, right? Like, what is it to be so there was a comment made, and somebody said, and my daughter said it to me. My daughter actually said it to her mother, said, Dad's not controlling. Dad just wants to make sure that what we want is what we want. Not what our friends want, not what our mother wants, not what our sisters want, not what our brothers want.
Not what society wants. It's what we want. Yeah.
Right? And in fact, you know, Rosella's mom acknowledges. She says, no, it's true. Vince would always give me whatever I wanted or didn't want. But I had to prove to him that's what I want. Because as long as that's what you want, I'm willing to make you happy and give it to you. Right? And that's what the problem is. The problem is that how few people realize that, and I said this to somebody once, I said, if you go into a relationship faking it, remember, because fake it till you make it, it's a great slogan of God knows what generation, right?
This one.
Fake it till you make it. Okay. So as you're faking it, the person across the table, are they faking it? How do you know? They don't seem to know you're faking it, right?
So everyone's faking it, basically.
No, but you don't know.
You don't know.
So you sit there and you say, so why am I talking to the hairdresser or to my spray tan girl or to whoever about my problems, let's say? Or for example, why would I go up to my father and tell him, you know, how did you and mommy last 54 years, 55 years? What the fuck do I know? Back in those days, we didn't get a divorce. If I knew I could have had a divorce, maybe I would have left her. It would have been my sixth wife. All that to say what? That there comes a point where if you're not willing to be honest with people, don't ask for advice.
No.
Right? When I go see a lawyer, I always tell her, I say, listen to me, I'm going to tell you something. You just remind me what I'm not allowed to remember. But let me tell you the story, and then you tell me what I'm not allowed to remember, okay? And so you tell them the story. But if I don't tell you the truth, why am I listening to your advice? And that's where this generation, for me, that's what worries me. I don't remember ever. So I'm going to say something that's going to sound really strange. Every time I told a woman I loved her, I really thought I did love her.
Well, you didn't always love her.
No.
You thought you did.
I thought I did. And then later on, when the relationship didn't work, and then I turned 18, and then I dated another girl, what I was feeling with that other girl, this new girl, was different enough from the previous one to say, oh, wait up a minute. Then maybe it wasn't love. That was like extreme like. Degrees of liking. Yeah. So it's like 50 Shades of some great thing, right? Yeah. So black is pure love. And ultimately, and the reason why I bring the love thing in is because I said to somebody at the Hot Water Club, I gave a speech on business and whatever, and the person said, how do you take your passion in business and do this, that, right? And I looked at the crowd and I said, did I say the word passion to anybody? No, but I mean, that's what you were trying to say. No, whoa. I never said the word passion. No, but you're passionate about what? Why, you're in the movie business, it's 50 years. April 1st, 2024 is going to be 50 years we're in the movie business. You're passionate about movies. Who told you that? Where'd you get that from? Well, why would you be 50 years in the movie business?
Why would you do it then?
Because I make money off it. Oh, so it's only for the money? Yeah. He goes, so it's like, my son's passionate about movies. That's why he's at NYU Film School. He wants to be a movie maker. Me, I don't want. I want to make money. Mm-hmm. Then with the money, this is what I'm going to do. With the money, I'm going to go do the things I like, the passionate things.
Yes, so that makes sense.
Making money is the sacrifice I do to provide for my family, to raise, and it's okay. And everybody seems to say, no, you have to be happy. But I'm happy. When I end the year with a $20 million profit, I'm happy. I'm very happy. Like, you can't imagine how happy I am. Right? And so that's the other thing. I ask when I go talk to university students, I say to them, what do you guys want to do in life? Like, let's say, what's your goal? Everybody wants to be successful. Okay, but why do you want to be successful? Because I want to leave the world a better place. Yeah, you're full of shit. What else? Because I want to give half of the money to change the planet. Yeah, okay, you're full of shit too. Anybody here? Anybody here?
Honest?
No, I said, yeah, anybody here want to be honest with me or what? And normally, there's never anybody who's going to be honest. It's okay. So it's not so bad, guys. It doesn't matter that none of you want to be honest. Because out of 400 of you, less than one of you is really going to make it. So I really don't care.
Well, those are the stats.
Right. So I really don't care.
Less
you guys don't want to be honest.
Less than 0.25 if there's...
Right. So I said to him, so if you think that Elon Musk started off his business career by saying, I want to change the world, I want to go to space, and I want to do beautiful things for humanity, and I want to move humans there, and I want to do electrical things too. No, the guy wants to make money. And you see it the way billionaires will go from one business to another business to another business to another business, and they'll just churn out money.
Exactly. Why is he doing that? Yeah.
That's right. And then...
It can't be that all those businesses are his passion.
That's right.
Maybe one is, but not everything.
That's right. And then look at the guy from the Mavericks. He's on Shark Tank.
He's on Shark Tank USA.
I'm getting a block on his name.
I just heard a story about him the other day. Keep going. I'll get it.
Anyway, so what was interesting about him is that he invented some radio app.
Mark Cuban.
He invented some software that I think for radio or something that Google paid him like $5 billion for. He sold it. It never worked. Right? Never worked. His passion was basketball. So what did he do? He bought a basketball team.
Yeah.
With the $5 billion. And he's got even left over. So keep passion. Yeah. So keep passion. So people tell, what's your passion? My passion is my family. Why? Because as I told my older boys when they were younger, one day they were fighting on Christmas Eve and I got mad and I gave them a disciplinary little smack in the oh, be quiet, both of you, I said. You both of you, you're full of shit, I go. Me, when I was your age, all I wanted was a brother. And God, you know what he gave me? He gave me a fucking toy all the time. He never gave me a brother. And you guys, you're here fighting between yourselves. It took him about 5-6 years to answer me. No, to answer me.
Oh, just to answer.
Yeah, just no, because they were scared. I don't say nothing, like. Then 5-6 years later, I told them the story. I reminded them the story when they were arguing about, once again, about stupidities. Who's the better soccer player? Oh, fuck you, okay, shut up. It's Christmas Eve. Like, and I said, man, you finished again. And so one of them says, by the way, I have an answer for you. For what? Remember when you did that? Yeah, what's the I didn't ask you a question. I said, but I have an answer for you. See, the reason why you got upset at us is because your relationship with your brother is an ideal because you don't have one. Yeah. If I had a brother, me and him, me and my brother, it would be all over. We divide the world in half. I'd own half, he'd own the other half. I go. She said, but that's the problem. That's the ideal. That's the romance in your mind. Me, I have a brother. He's a pain in the ass. And he drives me crazy. Right? And he never puts his stuff away. And it's always a mess at the house because of him. And then I got 2 younger brothers, and they drive me even more crazy. Right? And so that's where we go back to this. It's so unfair. I didn't have a brother.
Yeah, you mentioned that on episode 2 of the Drive-By too. It's something that you carry, right?
Right. But that's why I wanted so many kids.
Yeah.
Right? And that's why now I have 5 kids. And I feel that was my passion. Now, Mother Teresa used to say it all the time. You want to change the world? Go home and just love your kids. Because the problem is that too many of us. And so, before I gave you the example of women who are caught in difficult situations. If they're career women, they're seen as non-feminine, non-motherly. If they're motherly and stay at home, they're seen as retrograde and they're from the old country, like, has-beens or whatever. But men are caught in the same problem, right? I was having a discussion once with a woman about Freud and everything, and the discussion was that when you go to therapy and they do psychoanalysis, they always blame it on your mother. What are you surprised about? Yeah, it's always the woman's fault, but it is. Think about it. Who raised you? Your mother. Now, this next generation, they're going to go there and the therapist is going to have to be smarter. Man, now is it the mother who screwed them up or the father? Because even the father's involved.
Yeah.
But this is what the problem is. For a father to be involved in the life of his kids, the same way a mother's involved in the life of her kids.
It's very different.
It's very difficult and very different. Why? Because it's still expected that a father is going to provide. If he provides, he doesn't have the time to give you as a father. If he gives you the time as a father, he can't provide what he's supposed to be providing. And therefore, you may not be getting the benefits of what money would bring. So you have to, it's a balancing act, right? And why is it that grandfathers are better grandfathers than they are fathers? Because now they have the time to give to their grandkids.
That makes sense.
Right? And you know how many sons have told their fathers, why did you treat me so badly and you treat my son so nicely?
Yeah.
Because I wasn't treating you badly. I didn't even know you were there. Yeah. I had to raise money because I had to make the money. Your mother had to take care of you. Mm-hmm. Right? So I had to better the overall family situation. These are the problems that I think couples today don't talk about. Mm-hmm. The future generation.
But do you think that's why? Because I've talked about it on my podcast, some of my solo casts. Do you think why this is the reason why the boomers and Generation X have almost, handled with kid gloves? They've because of the way they were treated, like you said, right? Now they're very hands-on when it comes to their kids, and therefore by coddling over them, they've created this generation that is very different from us. And
I think that
they didn't have to, back in the day, we didn't have two working parents. Now there's two working parents. And it's like, oh, yeah, back in the day, I remember dad wasn't around or both my parents worked, whatever the case is. But nowadays, that's changed a bit.
right.
No? The dynamic? Therefore, is that possible? So
It's changed, but what's also changed is, and I think I posted it yesterday when I said, having a bond with your children it's a very sacred, rewarding thing. Because the truth of the matter is, I have a feeling that we all give time. See, so because the work week changes a little, right? So it's no longer as crazy as it used to be on a work week, right? Now we work at home, people, teletrabajo and the whole thing. So people are home all the time, right? But it's the bond that's missing. This generation, and that's why, Michelle Romano wouldn't be happy me saying this, but that's why I'm a little happy that Silicon Valley took a big hit, and now everybody's reevaluating tech differently, and they're being more logical in what they're doing. Is because the problem with tech was that it dehumanized the childhood experience. It made, and I think I said this on the last show. I was at Maison Bolud with all 5 of the kids, and the younger ones were really young, and they all had iPads, right? And me and their mother were there, and we were talking, and this and that, and we were talking with the older ones or whatever. And there was an older couple not too far away, and you could tell the judgmental, like, look at that, the iPad.
the whole family is.
And I didn't say anything, right? And then when I was about to leave, I paid the bill, and then I walked by them, and I said to them, they were French Canadians, and I said, excuse me, I spoke to them in French. I said, excuse me, look, you can judge me all you want. I just want you to realize that instead of judging me, you should be thanking me. Because of those iPads, you had a very peaceful dinner, because or else they were not manageable. They were gonna you thought you were gonna be in a nightclub. So thank me instead of looking at me crooked and rolling your eyes at me. Oh, no, I'm sorry. No, it's okay, right? But that's what the problem is. The problem is that in the name of convenience, we've lost humanity, right? It's convenient to have...
To just give the iPad.
Hey, my phone's right here. Okay, it wants to talk to me. It's convenient. I can just text Vince when I want.
Mm-hmm.
You know what it means to have the self-control at 15, 16, 17, 18, 20 and say, I don't want to answer you. I don't want to answer.
Yep.
I want to go to bed. I don't have to answer. But remember, I have 2 phones and I answer. But the problem is it's become an addiction. It's become a way of life. And it's made us lose all connections, all human connections. And then what do? I remember the first time, because you said to me, you went to therapy. Yeah, so I remember the first time I went to couples therapy, I walked in and it was somebody that my wife had chosen, so I'm not going to argue. I get that. So the guy, he starts. Whoa, settle down, man. Relax. First of all, are you married? He goes, yeah. Ever been divorced? No. Okay, you can proceed. I understand. Why'd you ask, what's the relevancy of those questions? No, let's get something clear. If you're not married, right, and you never got divorced, and you're telling me how to be in a marriage, maybe let's do like this. Get somebody who has some experience here. Because what do you have as experience? But since you're married, you never got divorced, you must be doing something right that I'm not, right? And clearly he's doing something right. You're right, honey. You're right, honey, right? And that's what the problem is. What do we do with the kids? Right? That's why I told you the example. I told my daughter, you can win this battle, but you're not going to win the war. In other words, I'm telling you, you're not going to do this. You're not going to behave like that. But it's easier to just say, you know what, do what the fuck you want. Let them do what they want. Yeah. They're going to learn. Eventually, they're going to get out of it. But let's not take it to the other extreme, where at 13 years old, cut them off social media, do this, that, because it's no good for them. No. You've got to expose them to the problem. You've got to expose them to the reality that is, and make sure that they don't become a negative, right? So you're on social media to do what? To interchange with people, post cool pictures or whatever, great. If you're over there just to, there was a Robert Hirschbach loves to use this quote all the time. He says, so every time it's somebody's birthday, he says, I wish you nothing but for you to live the life that you post on Instagram.
Because it's not really happening.
It's not true. That's right.
Yeah.
And that's where the whole key is, So
Well, that's the whole fake it till you make it that you were talking about.
Right. And
it's the whole generation that what's more important is
appearances
as opposed to what's really going on.
And what's funny is this. I'm a cool dad. I don't consider myself to be a cool dad. I consider myself to be a strict, logical dad, which is what my dad was. Now, I adapted to the times, this, that. But I'm not a strict dad where I'm...
Right, but you're cool because you think you're cool, or have your kids told you, hey, Dad, you're cool?
Oh, no. My kids tell me I'm old. No.
Okay, no matter what, you can be. Yeah, their friends think you're well.
Their friends is like, oh my God, especially my daughter's friend.
Yeah.
Oh my God, your dad is so cute.
Yeah.
He's yummy. He's this. He's that. The 14-year-old girl's calling me yummy. Oh, stop it.
But you're on a popular TV show.
Yeah.
You're not just her dad. You're also you're a celebrity. Yeah. People know you.
Yeah.
So,
but what it is also is that I speak to them. Mm-hmm. So, I had my daughter's 13th birthday at the house. I had 40 kids. And I was in my office, and they were coming in and out of my office and asking me questions. Mm-hmm. And I would explain to them stuff, and then I'd go see where they are and this and this and that. And it was like I gave them the time of day.
Yeah.
You know what I'm trying to say? Like, and I can tell you that for 12, 13, 14-year-old girls who are going through a hormonal change and they're trying to be popular, whatever, to have somebody who's, let's call it a celebrity with a small c. I like to always say the small c because I don't want to inflate my head. That gives them the attention. In fact, one of them my daughter said, it's so cool that your dad actually speaks to us and speaks to you. Like my dad walks in from work. I don't even see him. And that's where the problem is.
Yeah, that is a big problem.
Now, but why? Because truth of the matter is, well, we're there to provide, we provide, and that's it. Because, I have to be happy. What makes me happy is going to play golf on the weekends. That makes me happy. Okay, good. But can you do it like, for example, I go play golf once in a blue moon, I go with my kids. That's like, I go on vacation, I go with my kids. Yeah. For example, I'm going to go to the convention in Vegas. I'm going to take my kids. Why? Because what's cooler than going to Vegas with your kids? And look, this is what daddy does for work.
Yeah. Whereas a lot of people are going to Vegas to hang out with the boys, hang out with the girls.
That's right. And so the problem is, like I said, is that it's a generation that, because this is already mine, it's acquired, it's mine. What else do you have to offer? Now, the challenge is, how do I get that extra? Mm-hmm. But this is taken for granted. Right? It's like saying the foundations. Why do I have to go on a construction site and see the foundation being poured? Cement between two pieces of wood.
Because that's everything.
Who cares?
Yeah, keeps the whole house up.
Wrong foundations, your house moves, you're done.
Everything you've worked for goes down the drain.
That's right. It's the same thing here, right? And so, like I said, see, all of this, somebody could say, but what connects all of this big discussion we have?
Yeah.
It's very simple.
There is a connection.
The connection is, be careful what you wish for, because it's given to my success that I had access to more knowledge, different people, different philosophies, different cultures, different ways of thinking. And you start realizing how screwed up society really is, how dysfunctional we are.
Yep.
Where we're almost saying we're going to get married or we're going to be business partners, but ultimately the goal is my self-happiness in the business partnership. Mm-hmm. So then do it alone.
It's true. If you can't be happy with the partner, don't partner up.
That's right. Don't partner up.
Yeah.
Right. And that's the analogy between marriage and business.
And
Same
business,
thing.
yeah.
A friendship, a father-daughter, father-son relationship, acquaintance. All relationships have the same basis: trust, transparency, and I love when people say, "Yeah, I know, but me, I'm not like that. Like for me, relationships are not transactional." Really? Really? So why are you friends with the hairdresser? Let's say, I ask the question, why are you friends with the hairdresser? Why are you friends with the tanning girl? Or why are you friends with the nail girl? Well, why? They're nice people. I don't care that they're nice people. There's tons of nice people in the world. Why are you friends with them? Right? And the question when you ask that is, because they make you feel good. But now, why do they make you feel good? And why is it that, for example, somebody who could open up the door to the Vatican for you or to the UN or something, that person doesn't make you feel good? Because there's competition. Right? And so everything is transactional. Why do you have kids? It's a transaction you did with yourself. Why do you want to make money? Because it's a transaction you want to make. Right? Why do you give money to the Jewish General Hospital versus Santa Cabrini? Because, I think the money gets used better in one hospital versus another. It doesn't mean that other hospital is bad. It just means there's always somebody taken advantage of, but in one hospital, maybe they're okay with me asking for accountability. In the other one, amongst Italians, bro, you're gonna question a paisan. Fucking right, I'm gonna question a paisan. Question a paisan way before because once again, who betrays you?
Yeah.
The paisan, the friend,
Right.
Family. Not the
person you know, not the person
not
you
the
don't
person
know.
that didn't expect you to give him anything,
Right.
and now they're owing to you something.
No, that's so true.
So
It is true.
Yeah.
Said a lot of great things today, Vince. There's no doubt about it. Here's a tweet that you made the other day. I think it was the other day. I'm almost sure this was December 1st. I could be wrong. The more you sell, the more you lose money. If you're not making money, how do I could even hear you saying it. How do I make money? CBC Dragon's Den.
Yeah, but so
because I hear you. I hear you when you're on the show and somebody is pitching, right? I hear you say similar stuff to that a lot, right?
But so the only regret I have about Dragon's Den is that sometimes I feel that when we're editing, so most pitches go anywhere between half an hour to an hour, and you get 6 minutes.
Right. So they're even wow.
Yeah. So the first 2 years, I used to have Sal, John Ruggieri, a bunch of friends of mine. They just send me text message. What the fuck? Why don't you ask him this? And why don't you ask him that? I did. They cut it.
Yeah.
Because they didn't try. This year, for some reason, they're realizing that maybe there should be a lesson for every pitch. Something has to come out of it. If there's no deal, something has to come out of it, right? So my problem is, and I said this, like I said at the Outwater Club when I was there, I said, don't come to me and say, I have this great idea. This is the product. And to make it socially acceptable, I'm going to give 10% of my profits away to charity. What? Why don't you do this? Keep the money in the company, pay yourself dividends, and do whatever the hell you want with your money. Don't take my money, okay? Don't give away money that you didn't make yet.
You're already giving away money.
That's right. You're giving away money. Your thought is, I'm giving away money.
Yeah, bad business sense.
That's right.
Yeah.
Then they say, and then the guy on Dragon's Den, his thing was, we've invested in a brand.
Can you mention what I don't remember?
I forget the name of the company, but it was basically there were three people. If I remember well, there were three people who all three of them worked in the garment industry, and they made this super product, which you could customize on their website, and you get this incredible winter jacket that's got everything you need: pockets for your cigars, for your vape, for this, for that, anything you want. Okay,
it's a custom jacket.
Custom jacket,
the way you want it.
Yeah. So, okay, straight. How much you sell your product? Okay, says the average basket per day is $750. Holy shit, that's a big basket. Okay, and then Michelle does, her pitch and says, "What's your cost of acquisition? $1,000 a person." Wait up a minute.
$1,000
a person.
a person.
To acquire the sale. Wait up a minute. Let me understand. Did you just say that it costs you $1,000 to sell $750? Yeah. The hell do I want to be in business with you for? If I increase your sales, I'm going to kill myself. I'm shooting myself in the foot. Yeah, but that's the cost of building a brand.
Oh, I hear that all the time.
Hey,
that's
come on,
the
man.
line. Yeah.
Come on, man.
The cost of building
I built the brand.
Right.
Okay. I made a profit from day one.
Right.
And I invest part of the profit in the brand building.
Yes.
But I'm not going to
start off.
That's right. And so the mentality that he was using or they were using was the tech mentality, which is I invented this app. It's not important what my burn rate is. It's not important that the app is being downloaded for free and I generate no revenue. That's not important. What's important is that I have 1 million downloads. And Silicon Valley is going to pay me this much and I'm going to get, one day I'll get Uber.
Right.
But Uber's never made a penny. Like they've never made a profit so far. And as much as everybody, think about this. Look at how Netflix is changing their business model. Look at how Netflix is now talking about brick and mortars.
I heard that. So that is true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
that's interesting.
Think about how that is from a company who was all about streaming, was basically announcing the death of movie theaters for their survival, and COVID, who was supposed to have killed us,
you're still here,
seems to have killed him. Mm-hmm. That he has to change his whole business model. And yesterday I had some time off. I just wanted to relax. And I went to Netflix. It took me 40 minutes to find something that I watched for 10 minutes, and then I said, it's too boring this thing. And I left. And I went back to work. I said, I might as well go work. Because if I'm going to watch these stupidities, I don't want to. And then I went on Crave, and I saw something about Bookie. I saw an episode. It was season 1. It's a show called Bookie.
Okay.
It's really funny.
It's about gambling?
No. It's about a loan shark and book holders, but it's with that guy, that Italian guy out of the U.S. He's a comedian.
Not Sebastian Maniscalco.
I think it is.
I know the movie exactly you're talking about.
But it's not a movie.
Yeah.
It's a TV series.
Yeah, TV series.
Yeah, so I watched the first 2 episodes. It's funny.
Yeah.
Every once in a while.
But he is I thought he was a gambling. I thought it was gambling. I'm almost sure Bookie.
Yeah, but it is a book, but it's about the gambling. But
yes.
Okay, no, but I thought you meant, is it like a documentary about
gambling? No.
It's a comedy stuff.
Yes.
And so the truth of the matter is that, and I can give you the example of Kodak. Kodak ran the film industry. You couldn't make a movie without a Kodak camera.
Forever.
Yeah. What happened? Some guy invents a digital. By the way, some guy in their own offices invents a digital camera. Mm-hmm. And they say, you're crazy. Get out of here. He takes it to Sony.
Yeah, and that's it.
I think it was 11, 13 years later.
It's wild.
Kodak's bankrupt.
Mm-hmm.
Think about it. And they're no longer they don't exist per se as a corporation. They're just a brand that sits in a leftover company like General Electric. Mm-hmm. Gone. Mm-hmm. Why? Because people don't adapt. They don't change. They don't. And so it's hard to adapt. It's hard to evolve if you don't analyze your whole cheminement.
Right.
And my problem is that we've given too much importance to school, to grades. Right? So I always tell my kids, I want a degree. Like, I want a law degree. I want something. Like, you're not just gonna.
If I'm quit. Especially if you're gonna.
Yeah, like
take care.
You gotta because this is what university should be used for. University should be a testament to your ability of resilience and of learning. But what you actually learned, I don't care. Because when you come and work for me, I'm gonna have to reprogram you all over again. Because what your
yeah, it's completely different.
So I like professors. But because sometimes I say this, and every professor in the world is gonna DM me, and they're gonna get really upset at me. Professors, and some of the people who have marked me the most, are teachers, professors.
Mm-hmm.
But the ones that marked me the most were not the ones who tried to teach me a course. It's the ones that taught me the importance of being able to learn, to be like clay, malleable, and because if you think about it, when you go to law school, most professors in law school are people who can't make it as lawyers in the outside world, but yet they're training.
Yeah, most people that are teaching are people that are not
socially
in the field.
That's right.
Yeah, for a reason.
Right.
Doesn't mean they're bad. It means they can teach it, but they can't do it.
Doesn't mean they're bad, but it also means that they have zero on the back. So
yeah, they haven't fought the.
I want if I got to go to war with somebody, I want a general that didn't come out of West Point, and he's got a PhD in military strategy. I want General Schwarzkopf, who was there. He was on the ground. He goes, I know how many people die. I know the horror of war.
Yeah, I get it.
So it's got to be quick, in, out. We're not staying here 20 years. We got to go in, destroy, and get out, right? And as sad as war is, people say, in war, it's so sad. Innocent people die, children die. Yeah. That happened also in with the Twin Towers. Mm-hmm. But the children that didn't die, they may have been worse off because they were orphans. They grew up with hate, anger towards a community that didn't do anything because it's a bunch of terrorists that did something wrong.
Yeah,
not the
it wasn't
community.
the community.
It wasn't the community.
No, it's
that,
never
right?
the community.
And that's what the problem is.
Yeah.
Is that we're being manipulated all the time.
Yeah.
And death is the ultimate horror. No, it isn't. The ultimate horror is being tortured, being abused, being taken advantage of, made to feel that you're not worthy. That's a lot worse than dying. Because you die.
It's over, yeah.
Death is like stupidity. When you die, you don't know you died.
Yeah.
It's like the stupid people. They don't know they're stupid. Right? It's the same thing. And those are the things that, so, like I said, to put it all together, it's basically, that's what Be Careful What You Wish For as a book is. It's 54 years of my life as a retrospective of what I learned, why I believe that's what it is, why I thought this is what it was at this age, and why I realized that this is what it was at another age, and why happiness is bullshit. It's bullshit. Like, what's happiness? We live in a society where I want to be happy. I want to feel accomplished. What the hell does that mean? And does it mean the same thing to everybody?
No.
There you go. I'm a mother. Okay? I'm a father. Right? And your mother must have told you this. My mother says to me all the time, I carried you for 9 months. And what does that mean? Mm-hmm. That means you're a better parent because you carried me for 9 months. Mm-hmm. During those 9 months, I wasn't even aware. I don't know if you ate good, you didn't eat good. I don't care. Right? The truth of the matter is this, is if we're going to gender neutral bathrooms, can we put aside mother, father and say, I'm a parent. Now, what is it that my child expects from me as a parent? What should I be teaching my children? Should I be living vicariously through my kids and saying my second chance at youth is through my children?
Which a lot of people do.
A lot of people.
Everybody does it.
Which is, for me,
wrong. No.
Totally wrong.
I agree with you.
It's
everybody does it. You're right.
It's like, fuck him up now and the damages. You won't even be around to see the damages.
No.
Right? And that's what's sad to me. Is that we have kids. So my oldest boy works with me in Cinema Guzzo. I didn't ask him to come and work with me. I didn't corner him.
Yeah. And so you have to do this.
I just told him, look, if you want to work with me, this is what you could get as a salary, and this is what you could get as the perks. If you want to go work for that law firm, go talk to him. I don't know what he offers.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know the law firm. Right? And clearly, I must have done something right if they all want to work with me.
Yeah.
Right? And I've also told them, if you don't want to work with me, but you want to do something, yeah, maybe you know what? Maybe the family will invest in the venture you want. You'll be the boss of that venture. You know, let's say you want to be a dentist or whatever, right? We'll invest in it, and we'll share into the profits, right? But you handle that, because I don't want to be a dentist, right? So,
not my passion.
And that's where the whole idea is, right? So, you know, so I'm working on the book. I'm working on, like I said, a reality show. But it's a reality show that it's like this podcast. It's like, don't give me any bullshit. Let's not make it about, okay, let's pretend I'm dating this girl, and let's pretend that I got drunk one night and I made an ass of myself, so now my wife is mad at me, and so we have a bit of drama, and people, no. Let's talk about real life. Yep. Let's talk about why it's okay to make $1 million salary. Because the truth of the matter is, how many hours a week do most people work? People are arguing to work 35 hours a week. I think I work 17, 18 a day.
Wow.
7 days a week. And now I double down on daddy duties, right? Because all the kids stayed with me. And so
now you never sleep.
But I always say it. Who needs sleep?
Who needs sleep? Because you were mentioning that ruler with the red button. Who needs sleep when that keeps getting shorter and shorter?
But that's why now, you know, that's why when you make those comments like on Dragons and you say like, my time's too valuable, man. I don't want to waste my time arguing with you about a partnership. Should we do this? Should we do that? You know what? You don't like it. Leave.
Yeah.
Let's not be partners in the business. What do I care? Right? Why? Because what I'll never get back is the time I invest in you. I'll never get that back. With my kids, at least, I'm seeing, hey, look at that. You know, I invested $1. I got $1 worth. Mm-hmm. So, you know what? It's a lot better than I invested $10 and I got $2 worth. And that's where the key is. The key is, I don't have that much time left.
Yeah, time is everything.
Right? And that's right. So
really
you try and, you know, and that's why maybe I shed a few pounds and I said, you know what, let me work out. Let me do this. And I had the black, makes me a little thinner.
I like it.
I like the look.
I like wearing black too. Well, Vince, you look fantastic. I always enjoy my conversations, not only when we're in person, having it off camera. I learn a lot from you, and I've learned a lot from many different guests that have come on this podcast, including the people, or one of the people that you mentioned. Sal, incredible story. You had mentioned one of Chef Antonio Park's restaurants, Yama. And I had him on a couple of weeks back. There's a reason. There's something that drives the Parasucos, the Guzzos, the Parks, the people that I've talked to, whether on this podcast or not. There's a reason why your success stories. It really does take a different kind of person.
Well,
it really does.
It does, because but put it this way. How rampant do you think honesty is in society? Everybody's playing a game.
Probably non-existent.
Right.
Like, or very, people are not always honest.
Right. So
let's be nice.
So what do Sal and I have in common? It's that we're nonconformists. Right? So this is where everybody, this is how everybody's taking this road. Okay? So I got to get them back of the line. Or I got to be rude and shove people out of my way because I got to pass, right? You know what? Let me see if there's another way where I can get to where I want to get. And by the way, as I'm thinking to get to the same place they want to go, I take another way. Look at that. I realize that there's something better at the end of this trip versus that trip. Yep. And then people say, he's a visionary. No, I just had the balls to go off the main highway.
Right.
Right? One day, you know, I told somebody, this was many, many years ago. I think I was in my 20s. I said, look, I don't know where the hell I am. So there's no GPS. There's none of that crap in the car. I don't know where the hell I am. I'm taking this exit. One of the guys that's with me in the car goes, are you fucking crazy? This is Harlem. Who do I give a shit that it's Harlem? Pull out. Stop at a guy, 5, 6 black guys are you're in front of a fire thing, they're eating it. Oh, where the fuck am I? How do I want to get to 5th Avenue and 57th Street? The guy looks at me and says, what are you doing here?
Yeah.
I'm asking you a question. Do you know where you are? Yeah, Black Harlem, White Harlem, who cares? Buddy, can you give me a direction? Yeah. The guy was confused. He's like, yeah. And he tells me, right? But what do you think it takes? A normal way of thinking to do abnormal or extraordinary things? You can't think like the average person and expect to do extraordinary things.
No.
You can't.
That's what makes you extraordinary.
That's right.
Not thinking like the average person.
You can't work 9 to 5 and expect to be a billionaire. Maybe you're a billionaire already and you decide to work 9 to 5. That's different. That's okay. That's your choice. But you see, and those are the things. Was Sal's passion the jeans business, or was Sal's passion Sal? I don't want to be poor. I don't want to live.
That's what he said at the beginning of the podcast.
I don't want to be poor.
They were struggling. He saw his parents struggling, his mom, and that's it.
Like when Pumpy said, look, I went to someone's house at a time where my family was not rich. I loved the education. I loved the friendships I made. I hated feeling so inferior because I was poor. It marked me. Marked me to the point that when my dad says, but when I immigrated here, I had $600 in my pocket. When I immigrated to Westmount, me too, I had nothing in my pocket. And he said, well, what? I went to school with Bronfmans, Demarez, whatever. We're talking about,
big names.
So the McConnells, and it was worse than that. There was no Italians. Or the Italians that were there were here from 8 generations. So there was only the name was still Italian. Nothing else was Italian, right? So you didn't fit in.
Never,
right? And
still do some. You don't sometimes.
And I told my kids, who says I want to fit in?
Yeah.
I don't want to fit in. I want my own tribe, my own squad, my own space.
Yeah.
And I'm entitled to it. It's my space.
Yeah.
Right? I live in Terban, right? I have my white party in Terban. I have friends from Westmount that come and say, if you want, we can find you a house in Westmount. So the party's closer. We don't have to go through the traffic. Hey, you find me 200,000 square feet that I don't have to mortgage 15 years of my life to acquire in downtown Montreal. Terban's perfect. I'm fine. Plus, I get away from you guys. You guys drive me crazy sometimes, right? My kids, when they were offered the choice of moving to Westmount, they said, it's okay, we're good in Terban. But all their friends are in Westmount. But we're okay in Terban.
Yeah.
There's a disconnect. There's a refueling. There's a walk away. Understand?
Yeah.
It's very important. If you feel that you don't fit in, the likelihood is that if you actually fuel it, you probably get more satisfaction out of not fitting in than of fitting in.
And you'll get somewhere by
Yeah. And you may change the world in a positive way that you may not even realize. In your own selfish quest to be different, you may invent something that the whole world will forever be grateful for.
Right. Like when you look at a guy like Elon Musk, who you mentioned earlier, it's incredible. And then to see you notice the footage from last week when he was being interviewed, and he basically was saying,
"Fuck you."
Yeah, straight up.
But that's
look, and that was like and legacy media. Right, the former mainstream, they're like, is he this guy's nuts? So like, what about if you just, your shareholders, people see this? I don't care. F them too. Like just him talking like that,
but
was incredible. Was an incredible moment.
But you know what's unbelievable about that is that should have been an inspiring moment for the world.
Yes,
because
it was for many people who are tuned in.
Yes, but
for those who are not.
Yeah, no. It's because everybody said, "Oh my God, he said the F word."
Yeah, so what?
Right?
Yeah.
Oh, but I'm telling you like this: by him losing his temper and saying "fuck you," and him saying, "You guys, by behaving the way you're behaving, you're putting at risk the lives of so many people that work for us, the company, He showed to the world that he's human. Now, some people say, you see, he's human just like us. Yeah, that's the whole point.
Yeah.
He's human just like you. What do you have in your bank account again? What's the number again? And if you think about it, what makes his number bigger than yours is a few more zeros. Think about it.
Mm. Those zeros are...
It's the zero. No, but you're a zero. You tell someone, you're a zero.
Yeah.
Give me a few more zeros.
Right.
The more zeros you give me, the more, right?
Yeah.
But that should have been the inspiring point, is that even an exceptionally successful person is human. So what he did is not superhuman. It's just different.
Right.
So now...
Some what we would expect.
That's right. Yeah. So now, that means that success is in everybody's book, everybody's possibility.
Everybody's possibility, yeah.
Right, and that's it. But what's the problem? Right? Why is it, no, but no, because he's got 15 degrees, he's got this, he's got that. If you look at the billionaires, it's funny. You got high school dropouts, and you got the guys that are super educated, right? Mm-hmm. A few of them are dyslexic, a few of them are just weird, but it's okay. Mm-hmm. Right? But they're human at the end of the day.
Yes, sir.
I always like to, if they cut
their flesh, they're done.
It comes out red.
Right. Yep.
The vein looks blue, but it's not, okay? No. It's really red inside, right? And so what they should have gotten from his reaction is, fuck, he's human.
Yeah.
But look at what he created. Right? And it's funny because, but he's arrogant. Oh, because the common guy's not arrogant. Right? Mm-hmm. If you think about it.
Well, there's a difference between arrogance and confidence.
Right. But in this case, he was just frustrated.
Yeah, very frustrated. But he let them have it, and it was probably one of the best moments of the year, for me at least.
You know what? I'll tell you something. It's some of my closest friends are Jewish, okay? So I'm very sensitive to the whole anti-Semitism and everything. But every once in a while, there's a horror story that happens in the world, right? And you say to yourself, let's just take a step back. Let's wait a minute. Let's have a look here. It's not because the person, is black, Jewish, or whatever, that it's automatically anti-Semitism. I can tell you that I was raised not to tell policemen to go fly a kite. Mm-hmm. So if I don't tell a policeman to fly a kite, he has no reason to force me down on the floor. Mm-hmm. So why are you forcing me down on the floor? Mm-hmm. Here, you want to put the handcuffs. When I was asked to give my hands to put handcuffs, I gave my hands. They put the handcuffs on. I went in the car. That's it. I had nothing to say. What do you want me to do? You want me to get into an argument at 11 o'clock at night with two police women? Okay. Right? Mm-hmm. There comes a point where you go along. And I could have played, I'm Italian. Because I'm Italian. Mm-hmm. Right? What do I care? I'm Italian, not Italian. Who cares? And so what I'm trying to say is that everybody milks everything, but at the end of the day, I'm not going to use my case as an example, but I'll use the Johnny Depp and Amber Heard situation. Do you think the people that supported one side or the other realized the negative they did for the future cases? In other words, the next time a woman is really a victim, you don't think they're going to try and say, wait up a minute, can you get her psychologically analyzed? Maybe she's as crazy as the other one. Maybe it's all false. And all of a sudden, real victims are going to get left behind, right? Mm-hmm. Same thing here.
Okay.
It comes to a point where it's frustrating to say, but if you're standing up to the police and refusing to get arrested or refusing to circulate, and you're raised to, no, we're like the hippies and we got to stand up to the authority of the police. Look, you're going to get smacked out. Mm-hmm. And then, if you get smacked out, it's probably not going to feel good and you may get... But the truth of the matter is that the numbers are what they are, right? Organized crime is run in Montreal by Italians. What can I tell you? So now we're going to play the cards. No, you see, they're all a bunch of racists. No, it's the truth. But you know what? If you go to another part of Canada, it's the Irish that run it.
Mm-hmm.
So you see, so there's no commonality.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not because they arrest an Italian guy that it's automatically because it's that. And it's not because somebody gets arrested automatically that he's guilty.
Correct.
And sometimes that person is not guilty of what he's being arrested for. He's guilty of being polarizing. He's guilty of being him. He's guilty. And let me tell you that because the decision came from a prosecutor in Quebec City, let me tell you that I thought about it for a while.
It crossed your mind.
Is it possible, not possible? And then I said to myself, no, you got to stop. Because now you're starting to be like the victim. Now you're starting to be like those guys that say,
Always the
that goes
victim.
wrong,
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
always somebody else's fault.
No.
No. So
Yep.
if this happened, and whatever I was being accused of never happened, it just doesn't make sense. But so why would people believe this and do this? Because of me, because I'm polarizing. And that's what those 6 weeks of yoga, I'll call it yoga, analysis, meditation, were to say, do I want to continue like this? Or do I want to be more subdued? Or do I want to take a step back? And that's why when then I was asked by the kids, what are we doing with the white party? No, we're having the white party. Yeah,
The show goes on.
Yeah, you think, why would I give anybody the right to force me into hibernation for the rest of my life? You know what? And in fact, in the press release that I said, it says at the end, I hope I showed my kids to stand up against anybody who tells you you're a bad person, this. No, buddy. I have resilience. I'm gonna fight for what is right and what's wrong, right? And that's what's important, because at the end of the day, that's how we raise kids. We don't raise kids with words, right? My father used to always say, I would go to church more often if the priest spoke less and showed me more with his actions, right?
Yeah.
And it's true, because that is the ultimate complaint we have towards the Catholic Church is, you always tell us what to do, but you guys, could you do it too, right? And that's where it's important. And that's what you have in guys like Sal, Antonio Park, Mitch Garber, right? You know, think about all of the online gambling stuff that's now legal. Think about all those guys that were considered criminals when they were doing it. Federal government, the U.S. federal government was going after them, trying to,
They closed it down.
Closed it down, this, that. So that's what a maverick is. But at the basis, everybody needs to know that they have the same shot at success as anybody else. We're all born, I don't want to overly describe it, we all come from the same, not the same one technically, but from the same part of a woman's body. Mm-hmm. That's where we come out of. Mm-hmm. So we all start the same way. It's how we end it that you know, and I was talking to somebody who said, I believe in destiny. You can believe in whatever you want. You can feel good. You can even believe in those gypsies that read the palm of my hand. And sometimes I go, you know, when I'm in Vegas, I like to go. And I like to speak to gypsies and to people who are fortune tellers and everything. I love speaking to those people. You know why? Because I want to know, how do you know the bullshit you have to tell me to make me believe that you actually know something?
Right.
Right? In other words, was it the watch that gave it away, that you're going to live a life of abundance?
What was it?
Or what was it? And what are the words you use? You know that fortune tellers are the best car salesmen in the world. If they actually applied themselves to doing that, they'd make way more money. And that's what's important, is to try and understand, how do I deliver the message? How do I get people to understand the message? What are the words I need to use, right? And every one of us who is successful as defined by either our industry, by people or whatever, has ups and downs, right? And the fears of the down are what keep us pushing to go up. And we all have a shot at it. But don't blame the people who made money that it's unfair, that they made it and you didn't. Don't go to Plattsburgh Beach on with your family every weekend or wherever, La Colle or wherever they go there, and put the effort. Sacrifice today for tomorrow's benefit. You know what I mean? It's things like that you have to, realize. Sal, I can call Sal anytime. He's either at his office or he's at home looking for something to do because I want to go to the office, but my wife doesn't want me to go to the office. So I have to find something. What are you doing? Nothing. Come to my house. Yeah, we're going to talk business over here. And
his mind is always working.
Of course, but that's the way it is.
That's the way you get to...
Because as I said to you earlier, work, for some reason, for successful people, work doesn't betray them.
Whereas everything else does.
Everything else will disappoint you. Even, look, I mean, I think my kids are perfect. Well, you think they haven't made mistakes? They all do. You forgive them and right? But every once in a while, you really have to do that mistake. Like it wasn't obvious to you. And sometimes they tell you, no, I knew it was wrong what I was doing. So why'd you do it? I don't know. I just did it. Well, that worries me more than if you told me because you pissed me off. Like for example, not that it's ever happened to me, but in psychology they say if you steal from your family, it's because you feel you're being unfairly treated by your family. If you lie to your family, it's because you feel that your family doesn't value you. Mm-hmm. Okay? So I tell my kids all the time, don't ever lie to me. You tell me the stupidity you did, don't you ever lie to me. Too many people lie to me on a daily basis, and that's made me the overthinker that I am, trying to figure out what's true, what's not true, what's this, that. So, but it's wasted time. But on the flip side, it's made me a better people's person. Right? I can get up, you know me, I can get up in any auditorium without even a script. Yep. What do you want to talk about? This, okay, I'll make a speech on this, okay. And I can just, vehicle that message.
Mm-hmm. Well, because your message is sincere.
Yeah.
And it's not scripted. Yeah. And it really comes from inside of you. And you're a great messenger.
Yep.
You are. Honestly, not everybody has the ability to speak the way you speak, and it's in your voice. You're not trying to be somebody else. You're Vince.
Yep.
Vince, thank you so much, man.
Thank you very much.
Having you on. Merry Christmas. We can still say Merry Christmas.
Yeah. Actually, I insist on saying Merry Christmas.
Yeah, let's
when people say to me, no, say Happy Holidays. No, it's Christmas. It's Christmas.
It is.
When I say Happy Hanukkah, when I say Happy whatever.
You say it, whatever it is.
I say it. It's Christmas.
It's Christmas.
Yeah.
Nothing wrong with that. Great having you on, and the best in 2024. Look forward to having you back when your book comes out or whatever project comes out again, or just to shoot the shit like we always do.
Perfect. Grazie. And I'll have you over for a cigar.
Thanks, man. Thank you. I'll have to tell you my birthday.
Yeah.
Episode 150 of the Drive-By Podcast with Vince Guzzo, sponsored by Les Délices Lafrenais. Hope you enjoyed it, and hope you will enjoy and indulge in your favorite pastries this weekend at one of Les Délices Lafrenais' 5 Montreal locations. You got one in Montreal West, the Hub in St. Leonard, Pointe Claire, of course, Rosemere, and my home location on Taschereau Boulevard in Brossard on the South Shore, with now a newly expanded grocery store with products direct from Italy. They have the Italian Christmas baskets. If you want to get something for an employer or an employee, that's the place you could go. Panettone, bring over some nice Dolce & Gabbana panettone or the Poli panettone. They've got a wide array of the best Italian panettone in the city. The deli section, of course, where I got my panini today. You could even have a coffee midday, take a break, go to Lafrenais, hook yourself up with a pastry and some coffee. It's Les Délices Lafrenais. They never disappoint, and they never disappoint me. Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.
This is The Drive-By with Freeway Frank.
Watch all episodes of The Drive-By on YouTube. Listen in on Spotify, Apple, Google, Amazon, Podbean, and tune in.